you've probably seen this petty beef, you know, between Africans and African Americans.
But we don't know how much American State Department or Justice Department is involved in Foundation of Black America. Who's getting paid the money to say what they're saying? So what you're seeing ain't quite what you see, and there's only a piece of what you see. A black face don't mean you're the CIA, all right? A black face don't mean you ain't the FBI. Okay?
We tried to keep it balanced last week. We tried to keep it measured. But Professor James Small just hit the gas on a narrative that can't be left hanging in the air. On a live stream with a Tether YouTuber, the elder didn't just double down. He named names, pointed fingers, and suggested that the entire FBA delineation movement is some kind of CIA plot. That's a serious allegation, and it deserves serious clarity. So tonight, we're not coming alone. We're bringing in two trusted voices. The Great Black Shark, one of the strongest signal boosters in the new black media, and our brother Chase McGee, author, historian, and featured thinker in American Maroon and the Hidden Colors series. This brother has shared conversations with Professor Small himself. We're going to break this down with respect, precision, and FBA truth. Buckle in. This isn't gossip, this is maintenance for the culture. You are now tuned into Sincereluvdagodcast.
Listen, they don't walk it how I walk it, nigga. And they ain't talking how I'm talking, nigga. It's different, it's just different. They ain't talking how we talking, man.
Here's the way it is. You live in direct relation to the poets, the heroes, and the sheroes you have. Always honor the elders. Then you honor yourself. Honor women, you honor yourself. Honor men, you honor yourselves.
Family, real quick, I'm proud to announce the soft launch of Sincereluvdagod's new book, From the Womb to Illmatic, a hip-hop-inspired blueprint for unlocking your child's inner genius. This ain't your average parenting book. This is for the culture, inspired by Illmatic, built around his own son Seven's early development, and packed with real tools to help parents turn everyday moments into genius-level learning. If you've ever wanted to give your child a head start without losing your roots, this book is for you. Available now on Amazon. Order now and leave a 5-star review. You already know, we raising brilliance around here.
Hi, I'm Seven, and I'm the Super Harry. That means I ask big questions, I make big moves, and I come from something powerful. In this series, I grow through change, embrace my culture, and unlock the gifts that my ancestors gave me. These books are for kids like me, kids with heart, with pride, and with big dreams. Come join the journey. Collect all 4 Seven the Super Harry books and unlock your power. Available on Amazon and Kindle now. Order your copy today.
Boom, there it is. Welcome, family.
Just like that.
Welcome to another episode of Sincere Love the Godcast. I am the God Sincere Love, back in the house once again with my lovely co-host, Nicety Girl. We in the digital building. What's going on with y'all?
What's good? What's good, everybody? You like my Michelle Obama hair today?
I see you. Yeah. You know, the barber's bobbing.
You know, trying to do my Michelle Obama hair today.
We ain't mad at all. Not mad at all. Man, y'all come on up in here. Y'all know what to do as y'all coming up in here. Hit that like button for us. Make sure you hit the like button. Share this out on your social medias. Let everybody know that we are live right now for another very important discussion. We got a great panel coming up for y'all. So definitely you want to share this out. You know, invite the family to come on in and join us for this topic right here. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you can be reminded whenever we go live with new episodes of Sincere Love the Godcast or upload new content to the channel.
Yes, sir. Which
All
we're
right.
here every Sunday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern, every single Sunday, unless we got other stuff to do. But for the most part, we're here.
Right. She always got to say the Pacific time first. Like
Yeah, you know.
we ain't 3
I
hours
mean,
ahead
3
of
is
y'all.
before 6.
You know, like we ain't 3 hours ahead of y'all. You know what I mean? But we here, family. We here. We on time. All that, and you guys are here. We appreciate everybody
Let me get
pulling
in the
up.
chat. Let me get in the chat. There we go.
And so, this week we doing a follow up to last week's episode. If you guys didn't see that last week's episode, what was the title? What was the title?
What was last week's title? I can't keep up.
We talked about some of the recent comments that were made by Professor James Small in regards to the foundational Black American delineation movement. We had some disagreements with some of the things that he was saying on a couple of live broadcasts that he did. And so, if you didn't see that, go check out the replay. I forgot the exact title of it, but you'll see the replay on the channel. Make sure you check that out. But this week is a follow-up to that because there was some subsequent comments that were made by the professor since then. You know what I'm saying? And so today we're gonna have a nice panel discussion. You know what I'm saying? In addition to me and Nicety Girl, we got a couple of guests pulling up with us today.
Yes.
We got our brother Great Black Shark is going to be in the building chopping it up with us. Shout out to Great Black Shark. We got the good brother Chase McGee from the Voice of the Ancestors pulling up to the Godcast to chop it up with us today. And we got our good brother Heru Nasset is going to be in the building chopping it up on the Godcast with us today as well. Now, I did invite some other people to come on, some people who are more on the Pan-African side of things, who may disagree with what we're saying and maybe leaning toward more of what Professor Smalls is saying, because I don't like to create echo chambers. You know what I'm saying? Okay. I want to have a lively discussion. I want to have a constructive, build and, really get down to the bottom of things so we can have clarity and be able to move forward. You know what I'm saying? It's not about beef. It's not about, no drama or having no debate and being disrespectful to one another. None of that. That wasn't my intentions. But the people that I invited on, they declined for one reason or another. And so it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm just putting it out there that I did, give certain people the opportunity. I ain't gonna say no names or nothing like that. But, I gave certain people the opportunity because they were in my comments when I was posting clips from last week's episode. They were in my comments, disagreeing with what we were saying. So I told them, listen, we're doing a follow-up. Why don't you come on and, give your perspective. You know what I'm saying? But again, they declined.
Can I add to that?
Go ahead.
Because some of the people that, don't rock with FBA now did initially.
Some people, yeah.
Some people. So it's like, the message has remained consistent and the same. So I don't know what changed.
That's true. That's true. And some people might say that about Professor James Smalls. It seems as he made a pivot because as many of us have pointed out, he was saying something very different years ago, even prior to the delineation movement. There's videos of him saying basically what we're saying. You know what I'm saying? And then since the delineation movement, he has been a part of certain things like the reparations rally and things of that nature or whatever. And so people are wondering where this is coming from, and people have questions. But for us, we just want to get clarity. We want to make sure that we maintain control of this narrative so that we can continue to push forward because we're making great progress with this movement. And I don't want to waste too much time. I got my brothers in the back waiting. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get right into it. But I do want to remind y'all, hit the like button, share this out, bring people in. Nicety.
Yes.
You see, I posted a clip of a new song I'm about to drop today, right?
I saw. See, and Sincere be holding out. He don't be telling me nothing.
Look. I literally wrote and recorded the song last night.
What?
Yeah. So yeah, my son, Zelo, he here. He brought his equipment with him and all of that. And so when I came home from work, he like, yo, you want to record? And so I'm like, oh, pull up some beats, man. We'll see what happens. And
Uh-oh.
so we did a little something. And so I said, yo, listen, mix that down. I'm putting this out tomorrow. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like I won't waste no
Right.
time. I'm putting this out tomorrow. But you know, it takes a couple of days for it to go live on the streaming platforms and all of that. So it's going to be released this Friday. So the new song is called Reflection. It's going to be released this Friday on all streaming platforms. So y'all make sure y'all be on the lookout for that. But I will give y'all a sneak preview, a world premiere of the song on today's broadcast if we get up to 100 live listeners. If we
Let's
get
do it.
100, if we get 100 people in here
Be ready.
live, I'll give y'all the exclusive world premiere of the new song Reflections is going to be dropping on Friday. Y'all will be the first to hear it. So again, share this out, share this out, share this out. But y'all ready to get this thing started?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's
Let's roll. Let's rock. I
let's
want to rock. I want to rock.
let's get into it. So first, I'd like to welcome my brother Chase McGee to the Godcast. Welcome to the Godcast.
Peace, King.
Hey man, peace, family, peace, peace, peace. Good to be back with the family, chopping up good game, important game.
Absolutely.
Brother Sincere, Miss, nicety girl. Listen, I'm glad to be back.
Amen. Let's roll.
Yes,
We
indeed.
have to have you back.
And for people that may not be
Absolutely.
familiar with who you are, just give us tell us who you are real quick.
Man, I'm your everyday brother. I'm Brother Chase McGee, born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, the author and the owner of Voice of the Ancestors, as well as numerous other social media pages, Foundation of Black Americans. I also have a YouTube Americans as well. Man, what else? On McGee's Media Empire. Just the author, just man, an everyday brother in the struggle for, Foundation of Black Americans. That's it. I have a tough time describing myself sometimes. I'm whatever the people
Brilliant. I'll just add that
need
in
me to
there.
be.
Brilliant.
I
Appreciate that.
Thank
And I
you.
want to thank y'all again because after I think we had our last show, I got that call from Brother Tariq. So about the hidden color. So I thank y'all. Maybe y'all put that in the universe because I wasn't even thinking about that. So, I was able to become a part of that. So, thank you for that shout out.
Dope.
Yes.
So our brother's gonna
I'm
be in the
excited.
new hidden colors. Yeah, we waiting on
Yes,
that.
indeed.
We waiting on that.
Absolutely.
And so next, I want to introduce to y'all our good brother Heru Nasset. Welcome to the Godcast, King.
What's up?
Peace, family. Peace, y'all. I
Peace.
appreciate y'all for this opportunity. It's my first time being on the Godcast, and it's good to be
Welcome.
here because I know, the topic brought to bring some clarity to it, bring some, understanding, a deeper understanding, and also a future for it. What are the next steps in this conversation? Because we could talk about what's going on, but then also be solutionary to the same points that we're talking about as well. So I'm
Agreed.
definitely looking forward to the conversation, and we got some things to say.
Absolutely, 100%.
Absolutely.
100%. And so I see my brother Great Black Shark has been going in and out of the backstage. I think he's having a little bit of trouble with the stream. So hopefully he does get that together and he will be joining us shortly as well. And so where I want to start at.
I mean,
Like I said, we're doing a follow-up to last week, and so we're going to play portions of the subsequent video that came out where there were more comments made and more accusations made and more things that we disagree with that were said. But Chase, let me start with you, Chase, because
Yes,
I spoke to you on the phone the other day, and you told me that you did have an opportunity to actually talk with Professor James Smalls on the phone recently, and like within the last week, right?
Absolutely. So, when you initially reached out to me and you sent me the clips, I watched the clips. I had an opportunity to watch the clips because despite what people might think, I own a media company, but I don't really be on the internet like that. I've been trying to, I try to keep my focus locked in on, what I need to do is on the internet. But I always say if it's important, the grapevine, I get it through the grapevine, and definitely you're a part of that grapevine. So when I saw it and watched it, I was, I wouldn't say, I was disappointed to say the least, but I understand sometimes that our elders can misspeak sometimes. They can say things they don't really mean. I could tell he was very angry. I wouldn't say very angry, but he was upset. You know, so I said, man, let me call him, especially when he started to mentor shows, the show you did last week. And I saw the video he put out on his Facebook Live, and he was talking about this video of him on 125th Street, I believe it was, in Harlem. And it was this video, somebody had posted it floating around the internet. And I'm like, dang, I got a video of him on 125th Street going in, floating around the internet, because my page is on autopilot right now. So I don't manually post anymore. You know, they just automatically go up. I got thousands of videos. They just automatically go up. And sure enough, I went to my page, and the source of the video that he was upset about was from my page. So, you know, immediately I dropped what I was doing and called him, and a spirited conversation, to say the least. I don't really believe in taking private conversations and making them completely public. But he definitely voiced his disagreements about certain things that he was seeing. One of the things that kept coming up, I'll just share this, is foundational Black Americans are attacking Black immigrants. We're attacking. That kept coming up. I kept trying to push back against that. You know, what do you mean attacking? What are we doing that's attacking? But that was a word that kept coming up, attacking. He did confirm that he is foundational Black American, because in one of the videos, he made it sure to say that he wasn't FBA, which is something that I asked him about, because I think when I watched the video, he almost framed it like it was an organization. Like, I'm not part of this organization.
Right.
And I see a lot of people do it. And so you are a foundational Black American. You've made that known on several occasions. And that's why another reason I can tell that he was upset, because when you're upset, you say things you don't really mean, you know. I used to get mad sometime at my parents when I was younger and be like, that ain't my mama no more.
Right.
Or that ain't my daddy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Of it, like it's an option, like, no, you got a choice or something like that. But he did admit to being angry and upset and saying things that he didn't mean. And I'll kind of just leave it at there, because like I said, I don't really like taking a private conversation and making it 100% public, because then, you know, and then it's he said, she said type talking points, you know, off of a private conversation. So it was definitely insightful. But then I also told him that we're gonna do this show. So he should definitely see this show, because I told him we were going to talk about it. He also told me that, and I'm going to use his language, respect, need to light into his ass. That's what he said, light into me. That, you know, he's an elder. He's open to criticism. Those are the words he used for the family. But he used it.
Like that.
I do like that.
He was open to it, and he said he's been lit into before. You know, he's been wrong before, and he'll be interested to hear the conversation. So I think that was a good sign. So, you know.
So he's open to accountability, it sounds like. He's open
Absolutely.
to constructive, you know, criticism of, you know, what was said, you know, and obviously, again, we're going to keep it respectful here, because we still love and respect him regardless.
Yes, indeed.
And he used the word accountability. Definitely, he's open to being accountable for what he's saying, and he will definitely be listening. So, you know, that's the beautiful thing about foundational Black Americans. We can have this conversation between us and the elders, and you know, it's always going to be respectful, because that's part of our culture, you know, having these respectful conversations.
Yes, indeed. And like you said, you know, when we talk about foundational Black Americans, we are referring to our lineage and our heritage that is, you know, unique to us, that are, you know, up from slavery here on this land, in the mainland in the US. You know what I'm saying? It's not an organization or anything like that you could join and be a part of one day and not be a part of the next day. You know, whether you use the terminology or not is irrelevant. It doesn't negate the lineage. And so with that being said, everybody is not going to have the same reaction. Everybody's not going to have the same energy. We can't control what everybody does in the lineage. And, you know, everybody has social media. Everybody got a microphone. And some people are going to be disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? Some people are in their feelings about some of the things that Professor Smalls had to say. And, you know, they might not handle it the same way that we handle it, but this is the way that we choose to go about it. I feel like being constructive in this way is the most effective thing for our overall goals to be achieved anyway, because I think for people to go on the attack against the elder and to be belligerent and disrespectful toward the elder doesn't do anything for our movement. You know what I'm saying? I think it actually, because the target for me, the target audience is never the people that already got their mind made up. You know, I'm on this side of things. I don't agree with y'all, but I ain't trying to hear none of that FBA shit. Those people that got their mind made up, that's whatever. The target audience for me is always the people who don't really understand what's going on, who might be a little bit confused about what's going on, who actually need clarity about what the conversation is about. And so to go on an attack against the elder, I think that actually does more damage, because that actually wins sympathy for him, and people are going to be less open to what we have to say when they see that type of behavior taking place. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how I look at it. But first of all, before I let brother Hayru chime in, let me shout out Mama Love with the super chat. Appreciate the $20 super chat, Mama Love. And shout out to V4 Vengeance with the super chat as well. He says, Professor Small's statements are enemy words. FBA are handling him with care. As an elder he is not acting like our elder. His words to us are enemy words. Okay. So, Brother Hayru, you want to chime in?
Yes, definitely. So just even starting this conversation off, just giving the elders their flowers for teaching us to be proud of our Blackness, teaching us, be proud of our culture and everything that comes with it. Because the pride that they gave us in us being proud of us being Black and the fighting for justice is why we are not going to be moved on the stance of where we stand with what foundational Black American is, and how foundational Black American heritage is a lineage. It's not like what Brother Chase was saying. It's not an organization or just a group you could join one day and quit the next day. You're born that lineage. It's rooted in you. Whether a person has self-hatred for themselves and hates their Blackness, if they find their lineage on the plantations here in America, they are foundational Black American, irregardless if they hate themselves. So we just got to make it clear. This is something that, you're born as. It's not something you just join or become or stop being one day. And everything that we talk about, just, much regards to James Smalls. I've known him, my whole life. He's known me since I was young. And he's the one who, told us, to shackle ourselves to our identity. And that's what we're doing. So we're listening to the elders. And I think that kind of has to be reiterated too as well, is that the elders understand that what you said and what they put out is what we're listening to. And we're doing it in our way. Every generation has a way of doing things, and we're just doing it in our way. Is it going to be perfect? No. But it's still the from the standpoint that we're doing it, we're taking a charge in it. And I think that needs to be understood overall, because this is a lineage-based thing. And when we look at the immigrants and, being a proud American, like, we built this land. So in us being proud of our Blackness and us being proud of our roots and our heritage, we're being proud in the fact that we built, we go around, we're all in different parts, of the USA. And, we see all these different places. We go and we work and we do, and every day we travel and we see the places that our ancestors built. And we're proud of that, and we're honoring our ancestors. Everybody says to honor your ancestors and to, do what they might not have been able to do. And that's exactly what we're doing. So foundational Black American to me is about being strong in your identity, self-empowerment, self-worth, understanding your greatness and understanding your heritage. And it's the fight for reparations in and of itself, because that's the conversation that is being, spoken about as it relates to our ties to here, to America, building it and being enslaved on the plantations. And this is our time for us to do it. And, when we look at foundational Black American, it's only been about 5 years, kind of since the inception of just what we look at as the conversation around it. Now, foundational Black American has always been a lineage, right? But Tariq Nasheed is just the one who put the words to it. He put the acronym to it. He gave it the name for it, but it was always there. So I think that's what people also have to understand. It's not like, oh, all of a sudden this lineage was just created in 2020. No, it was always there. And
Dr.
Tariq
Claude
Nasheed just found a way to kind of put it in a way that everybody can understand. And that's the thing about it. We're understanding it. And I think that, that's the reason why there's so many conversations, so many things being spoken about, is because we're understanding it, and it's pretty easy to understand. If you can trace your lineage back to the plantations here in America, you are a foundational Black American. You go and you get, the records of your parents. You go ask them who their grandparents are, where they're from, what they did. That's something you could do in school. That's a history lesson, a history project in and of itself. These are the everyday things that we can take from this. So isn't it about attacking one group of people or anybody? This is about being proud of self and understanding that. Because before I go, and the thing about it is that when we look at a person like Beyonce, when Beyonce went out and said that she was proud to be an African, she came out and said what she said as it relates to that. And then they said, no, you're not an African. Then we come out and we say, okay, well, we're not that. We have our own lineage based here in America, and we're foundational Black Americans. And now all of a sudden, now we xenophobic. So that's the thing about it. It's like we're in all regards, we're listening and we're answering the call and we're making action on the call. See, I think a lot of people are just used to people talking and no action being produced. So now when they see the action being produced, everybody has to do something. And not a lot of people want to work in tangent together, So those are just the things that we got to look at.
Man, you cook, and there's so many things I want to say, but we don't got time to get into everything. I do want to play some of the video, so we can respond to some of the things that he was saying. But I would be remiss not to get you to let people that don't know who your father is.
Right.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah, my father's brother Kaba. So throughout all this process, like I know James Smalls. We growing up just in the conscious community, growing up and seeing everything that's going on. That's why I understood this was a conversation, because I know that just growing up and seeing this from my perspective, I work with my father doing videography. So we're still continuing to do this work just from the basis of the soil of it. And I feel like this was just something that, we're starting to adapt new ways. And I feel like everything is coming together. And just from the basis of just understanding all of those parameters, it's just that, me and my father's work and just everything that we're doing. I was at the foundational FBA rally. We were at the foundational Black American Conference.
We met you down there in Dallas.
Yeah. So I've been around Chase too, like being in Hidden Colors as well. Like this is all just coming full circle, and this is about respect. Like even from the first conversation that y'all had last week, it's about respect, but it's also about, like, when we're talking about taking accountability and we're talking about having conversations, based around it. So just doing what we're doing and educating people, educating the youth, myself being teaching an after school program where I'm at, just doing all these things to help the youth and help everybody better understand this and take pride in your culture, take pride in what you are, and understand that everybody understands the Africanness to the Black experience. Everybody understands all of the things that come along with it. But all we're saying is that yes, but when you look at people like Michael Jackson, James Brown, Michael Jordan, and look at now Steph Curry, LeBron James, all of the individuals that we know that are Black Americans here, past and the present, it's just, there's just something about our experience. And it could be through the enslavement process, through having to work 10 times harder, and the experience that the African on the continent of Africa isn't the same. So the experiences are different. And we're trying to break that down so people understand it for what it is. It's not about hating anybody. It's about loving ourselves.
Indeed.
Agreed.
Indeed.
And also being foundational Black American doesn't stop us from having global unity. You know what I'm saying? But we are also acknowledging our specific and unique, experience and culture here in America. This doesn't take away from us, unifying with the diaspora at all. So I don't know why it seems like it's like they're putting us where we're choosing one or the other when we can do both, because Africans, Caribbeans, etc., have their own unique, cultures and experiences in their homeland, as do we. But that doesn't stop us from being cousins. We're still family.
Right.
We've never said that we weren't family.
Right. Right. But the problem is, with delineation comes consequences, because people have benefited from us not delineating. People have benefited from us not having a unique identity or not acknowledging our unique identity. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's where you hear this word attack, like Chase was saying earlier. This word attack, attack. That's what the attack is. Us acknowledging ourselves threatens the unearned benefits that they get from us, not doing that. But you want to say anything, Chase, before I start with the video?
Man, I agree 100% with Nice D, Brother Haru, and yourself. That's something Professor Smalls with, especially when it came towards the word attack. And, I explained to him that you have to understand that us defining ourselves, they view that as an act of war, especially the tether class. I also broke down him what the word tether means and how it is not synonymous with all immigrants, because what works to me is when I see our elders go to these other platforms and the way they frame foundational Black Americans, like it's an organization and foundational Black Americans has a leader that they don't like any immigrants. Of course the elders gonna attack that. You're with the terminology and they're not really on the internet like that. They don't really see what's going on. So, I'm always, and I myself have to do a better job of even calling the elders just regularly, not letting the only time that I call them be every 6 months. So that's one thing I can do better on, continue to form that communication and just go from there. But I agree 100% on what everybody said.
Yes, indeed.
What everybody said.
I want to add to that, to him saying, it's a group, or, if they're attacking. This is something that's been said on social media for years at this point. So I don't feel like that was an organic thought of his. I think that was something that was planted to him, and people showing him videos and, conversations from people that may not even be foundational Black Americans. I don't feel like that was an organic thought.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. And let me just get the screen together so that we can still be seen. Probably this one right here. Yeah, that one right there. That'll work right there. And so we're gonna go ahead and get into some of this video, and y'all can stop me at any time if you want to respond to anything, that was said or anything like that. I'll pause it and let everybody build, and we'll go from there. All right. And by the way, this is Fair Use.
Fair Use.
What's the name? I forgot the name of this brother's channel. It's called Sell Africa to Africans, I believe is the name of the channel. He's on here talking with this brother Orina. He's a brother from Kenya. That's who he's on here building with, and this is his YouTube channel. This is his content, and so we're going to be doing fair commentary here. And I got it sped up just a little bit as well, so we can try to get through it as best we can. But let's go. The first comment start right about here.
African consciousness. And somebody say, oh, this African thing is fine, but I'm Kikuyu, I'm this, I'm that. That's fine. But that just means you're a little piece of what makes the African African.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you only exist as a whole when you say I'm African. I live in America. Some of my people, they call themselves FBA and ADD and African American. Yeah, but all of them are just little figure thing called African. And if you deny the bigger thing, you denied your mother, you denied your father, you denied your grandmother, you denied your great-father, you denied your great-great-father, then you have no existence except as a clone and a hologram of the enemy that oppressed you. A clone.
Let me say something right there. I think because I think that's a growing sentiment or a growing narrative that somehow we're always denying Africa. We're denying Africa. A brother or sister who grows up born in Jamaica, who's been there 300-400 by saying they're Jamaican. A brother, same thing for a brother or sister who's in Haiti. They're not denying Africa by saying they're Haitian. Africans in Africa who call themselves Kenyan, and if we're going to be honest and be real, there are over 3,000 tribes in Africa.
Right.
They split and delineate. They delineate comes to delineation as foundational Black Americans. I mean, other groups have delineated decades, hundreds of years ago, even thousands of years ago. If you list some of them, tell their stories of their tribes. So no one's denying Africa. We've always said we're an amalgamation of different groups of people. One of the groups of people were slave brothers and sisters who came on those slave ships from West Africa. Another group are the Black indigenous people who were already here in the Americas. We also had travelers and explorers, brothers the Moors, brothers like Abukari and others who came from the Mali Empire. All these people were amalgamated together and put on those plantations and forced to build America. All those people were robbed and stripped of their culture. And if you don't believe me, this is something that I can pull up clips of Professor James Smalls himself talking about. He talks about the enslaved brothers and sisters who came from his family lineage from the continent of Africa. He also up in South Carolina cleaning the mounds down there of his Black indigenous family who was here before the slave trade. These are things, again, we're students of the elders. We love Professor James Smalls. You know, we love our elders. We listen to what they say and they talk about. We also listen to our family members who have always indigenous roots or some type of indigenous roots in the family. So no one is denying Africa, but we are not a generic African. We are not just straight off the slave ship, 100% West African. We are a unique group of people who had an amalgamation, and those group foundational Black Americans. So I think that's a very important state.
Right.
Yeah, and just to follow up quickly with that right there, the brother that he's speaking to here is from Kenya. He refers to himself as a Kenyan on this during this conversation. Professor Smalls refers to him as a Kenyan with respect, and he refers to the people of Kenya as Kenyans with respect. And our lineage is older than the country of Kenya.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Kenya is a name that was given to them by the British during the British occupation.
Absolutely.
Before that, it was occupied by Arabs. They were conquered by Arabs in that area over there, and it was a whole bunch of different, tribal things. It wasn't one country that's bordered off now called Kenya before that. And so before they were occupied by the Arabs over there, it was even more fragmented. You know what I'm saying? But different little territories and different groups and all of that stuff. So that one country of Kenya came about due to a ethnogenesis that they had post-colonization. No different than us.
Right.
So if you can acknowledge who they are, their unique identity today, what's wrong with us acknowledging ours?
Great point.
All right. Anybody want to say anything before I continue?
I could just say one thing, just in addition to what you and Chase was saying, just when we look at us ourselves being proud of our lineage, like even just as we know that there was about, give or take 60% of Africans that were sent to Brazil, nobody necessarily forces Brazilians to have to call themselves Africans. They call themselves Brazilians because that's their culture throughout times. That's things that they've adapted to, and the ways and the names and the languages throughout, all different aspects. But just overall is that we're foundational Black Americans because we're foundational Black people to America, just like Brazilians are in Brazil, and they can be called what they can be called because that's what they say. Just like us, we're now saying this is how we want to be presented and how we want to be called. Just like in Africa, they have all the varying tribes that they don't necessarily all have to lump themselves up to just, oh, I'm an African. Like you were saying, this brother's Kenyan. So he's a branch of what their their lineages are over in Africa. So just like we're saying, and I feel like in regards to just, this is about love and respecting ourselves. So I think people just need to understand that and not really run with the narrative that this is about hating other people and putting other people down. We're just putting ourselves up. And that's the real point, that I think people just have to understand, in its totality.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
And also Caribbeans who identify as West Indian. They don't call themselves Caribbean Africans or Afro-Caribbeans for the most part. They consider themselves West Indian.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed.
All right. As we proceed.
And a hologram of the enemy that oppress you. Now, I'm not saying these things to...
I do want to say something specifically about that. Our identity being a hologram of the enemy that oppresses. I agree with that to a certain extent, because that, to me, that coincides with something that Dr. Frances Cress Welsing used to say when she said, we haven't really seen what Black culture really is. What we identify as Black culture is really just our response to white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? So to a certain extent, that's true. We haven't just developed this culture of ours, autonomously. This is a response to what we've been through. You know what I'm saying? That brought this culture about. Just like when you look at hip hop, for example, you know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for the deprivation that took place in the Bronx and all of that, you know what I'm saying? If they didn't take the school programs out of the schools and all of that, and there wasn't all of the poverty and all that stuff going on, there would have been no necessity to create what we now know as hip hop. So it's a response to the conditions.
Mhm.
So I agree with that, but you got to put it in context, though.
Absolutely, and to add to that every culture, every group of people is shaped by their environment and circumstances.
Exactly.
That's not something
That's what culture is.
That's right. That's not something that's unique. We can't, and that's one of my issues sometimes that I have with many Pan-Africanists, I should say, is the double standard, so to speak. How to, like you say, the brother can be Kenyan, a sister could be Ghanaian. You even have the term like Nigeria that was named after a white woman. A white woman gave them that name. No one says anything about that. But the moment we say we're a foundational Black American, it's where you're wearing the cloak of your oppressors.
Right.
Partially as well with your take, brother Sincere, but we also have to dig deeper. I know the good elder Baba Kaba teaches us about the true origins of the word America. The white man really has no language that he comes up with. He just kind of takes on the identity. Same thing with the word Africa. That word wasn't given to the Romans. That word wasn't taken from a Roman general named Cornelius Scipio Africanus. He actually got that from the people he conquered during the Punic Wars. So a lot of this history is same thing with the word America that comes from the indigenous, the Mosquito people that are still down there to this day. And it was, I can't remember the European explorer's name. But he was good friends with Columbus, who took on the name America. And that's where they say it came from. But he took on that name from the indigenous people that he encountered in Nicaragua. And you can find that in the book Fulcrums of Change by Juan Carew, who was non-FBA, by the way, but put out that great information. So shout out to Juan Carew and rest in power to Juan Carew.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And we got Great Black Shark here. Great Black Shark,
Made it.
come off the mic, brother. Let's see how you sounding. Are you there, brother? You're muted. Your mic is muted. You got to unmute that microphone for us. We lost him again.
Uh-oh.
We lost him again. Real quick, shout out to V for Vengeance for the $10 super chat.
Thank you.
Let me read your comment real quick. I appreciate that. Professor Small said we are the most documented lineage. Dr. Claude Anderson said we should be called Native Black American. Tariq Nasheed coined FBA. We followed our elders' direction. How are we wrong?
We're not.
Appreciate that. Let me just see if there's any other super chats in here. I'm not going to be able to get to every single comment, but I appreciate you guys chiming in. Please continue to like, share. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell as well. Nicely, look out for the super chats just in case I miss anybody.
Yes.
I don't want to miss anybody that I need to shout out.
Okay.
All right. But we appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all. Let's continue with the video so we can get through this, man. We got a lot to get through here.
Trying to give you structure to understand what is a hologram.
You need to look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself if you would be bold enough. If you search for
Sorry.
Those always sneak in.
Sorry.
White man gonna get his money now. He said,
every time.
I wasn't
he
even.
said, I'm gonna get that.
I'm over here trying to scroll through the comments. Hold on. Let me get past this ad and then we'll get back to it. Let the ad play. Anybody want to chime in while the ad is playing? Y'all go right ahead. Say what you guys say.
No, it's just a great conversation, needed conversation, you know.
And this one of them ads that you can't even skip.
Brad said he getting his money.
Let me see. Is GBS back? Nah, GBS still is not able to get it together, unfortunately.
All
right. The ad is about to pass in a couple of seconds.
Okay.
And I see that we did hit our goal of 100 live people
yeah.
in the chat. And so I will play the world premiere at the end of the broadcast. I'll play that world premiere of my new song, Reflections. Like I said, just wrote it and recorded it last night. Y'all gonna be the first ones to hear it in the world. It debuts officially on all streaming platforms this coming Friday, Black Friday. It will be available on all streaming platforms. But y'all gonna be the first ones to hear it tonight, though.
Y'all, do y'all feel like? Oh, go ahead. Sorry, we're back.
Yep, we here. But you can say what you gotta say real quick, though.
No, just go ahead. I'll say it after.
All right, cool. All right. I think this might be the end of that first part. I might need to go to the next part. Let me see where we at.
And so when you understand that, you understand, oh my God, this man is saying we're not even, stop being African, being black. We're just European filth.
Yeah.
People so small, you sound racist. That sounds so mean. Do you know the millions upon millions of our people slaughtered on the grounds of Africa, spilled their blood by the hands of these people?
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna forward to the next part where they talk about the FBA FBA divisiveness.
So, Prof, well, thank you so much for being. That's why when I was watching the show, I was like, who is the consultant? So I didn't know, man. So thank you so much. So, Prof, as we were into, so Prof, I don't know whether you're active online and in social media, but if you are, you've probably seen this petty beef, between Africans and African Americans. And
you have to rephrase that. Some Africans and some Africans.
Some, very few. But you see, the problem is, Prof, and I like.
Not only is it some Africans and some African Americans, there is no beef.
None.
All right, us delineating is not a beef.
No.
Some people have a problem with it. That's their problem.
Mm-hmm.
There's no beef. Us, identifying ourselves and embracing our own history. That's not beef. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's one of those I always say they turn into that's attacking them. By us just even identifying ourselves is a version to them of attacking. And those one of the things that, like I said, we have to get straightened on. We have to do some straightening on this whole, just that even notion, that it's a beef. We're one of the only groups. We are the only group in the diaspora. We don't really wake up even talking about Africans or Caribbeans. And that's one thing I've been noticing over the last 5-10 years. I'm like, a lot of these folks, we were their Black representation. A lot of times that they talk about us and just study us and just mention us. I was looking at some of the Black quote unquote brothers and sisters in the UK and some of the things that they were saying. And I'm like, bro, we don't even talk about y'all like that. Not at the barbershop, I don't know your shows, your TVs, I don't know your music. I don't, honestly and respectfully, I don't know your culture. We were taught and brought up as foundational Black Americans, we mind our own business. We ain't really, especially we ain't in detail on what's going on in somebody else's house. That's part of our culture. So this whole thing of beef, in order to beef with you, I got to be looking at you, studying you, hating on you. You know what I'm saying? We're not even doing that.
And another thing is the Africans and Caribbeans. The reason why I got to this point is because the Africans and Caribbeans, they centered themselves in this conversation.
Absolutely.
Because when the delineation thing really started, it came from us studying and listening to Dr. Anderson talk about benign neglect.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's what it was all about. You know what I'm saying? Him pointing out the reason why we're not making no political progress in this country, reason why we're not getting anything specific to us is because of benign neglect policy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Specifically from the Democratic Party. Both parties be on the same bullshit. They got different methodology on how they go about it. But specifically, the Democratic Party has been practicing this thing called benign neglect, where they use these ambiguous terms, these weasel words that make us feel like we're included in something, make us feel like they're talking about us, when really they're talking about everybody else except us. So that's what made us say, hold up. That's what made us take a look at ourselves and start circling the wagons around our uniqueness. It wasn't about Africans or Caribbeans. They just felt the way.
And it was also about reparations, right? Because we had
Right.
to, center around our lineage in order to push reparations through as well, And so you have a lot of them who've clearly said it. What's the Byron somebody? He's one of these, Count City congressmen,
Absolutely.
in Florida,
The senator, I
who
think,
basically said he doesn't support reparations because he knows that his family can't get it because they're not foundational Black Americans. That's a problem,
Right.
but they don't see that issue. With the sabotage, of reparations and other policies here specifically for us. They don't see that as a problem. That's very problematic because there's no foundational Black American in any of their homelands on any type of, board, politically that's telling them that they shouldn't get something because we can't.
Absolutely.
Right.
I.e. CARICOM.
Right. Absolutely.
And if I could just make one point, just like even when you look at like culturally and just understanding that, like when you look at the arena guy, when he was interviewing James Smalls, he kept calling him bro. Like you would call somebody like elder or professor,
Right.
but he kept calling him bro. But the thing about it is that I guess because maybe James Smalls from his perspective is like, oh, well, they don't know. Well, we got to teach them. But it's like, I remember when Chase, you did the interview with James Smalls and, even referring to him as sir, it still got a little, friction, a little, that conversation. But it's like when Africans do things, it's like, oh, we got to teach them. They don't know. And then, but it's like, we supposed to know 2 times over. So,
Right. And since here we got a couple super chats, one from Brother Ish and also from Chosen.
All right, let me see if I can find. Actually, if you see them, just go ahead and read them off while I go ahead and play some more of this video.
Right.
I don't know if I told you this when we were speaking on phone, but let me tell you that even if it's few, because you told me it's 99% of us who are on the right track and 1% who are on the wrong track and who are really spewing a lot of divisive messages. But that 1%, bro, is very, very consistent online. I mean, you would think that. Yeah.
But the reason they are because they're busy fighting their game and we're busy reacting to their game. Let's fight our game. Let's talk about Africa. Let's talk about African Caribbeans, African Americans, African Latinos, and how we are striving to get closer and work together. How our cultures have survived all over the world. How our culture survived from Puerto Rico to Cuba to Jamaica to Haiti to South Carolina to Mississippi to Alabama. Why don't we tell our side? And yes, we were there before Columbus, but we were everywhere before Columbus. So why is it so important that we were in North America? We were in South America, we were in Brazil, we were in Cambodia, we were in China. And so what we're dealing with, you've always had those who was ashamed of being African. But it is.
All right, it's back to that ashamed of being African point. But who wants to hop on of course we were here before Columbus, but we were everywhere before Columbus. Why is that important?
Yeah, and I would like to touch on that too. And if I could, go back a little bit before, because I kind of agree with Professor Smalls when he say, let's worry about ourselves. And I think that's a big problem. Even this brother, he's in Kenya. How they from unifying in Kenya? What?
I don't even think he's in Kenya.
He's saying we're 1%. We're not stopping any motion going on right now in Kenya. And that's the frustrating thing. There's wars right now in Sudan. Sudan over the last 2 decades, if let's keep it 100, damn country, because they couldn't get along. It's South Sudan. South Sudan didn't exist in 2000.
That was like 11, 12 years ago that country came into
and by the way, you got people saying they're South Sudanese. They can delineate, and their country is 15 years old.
And you also have idiots like Myron Gaines, who's from Sudan, who sits on the internet all day and crap on foundational Black Americans all day.
Right. And so, and that's my thing. It's like, okay, the disunity that's going on in Kenya, that's going on the continent of Africa, that has nothing to do with foundational Black Americans. But I think the thing, being honest, we're looked at as the unity. Foundational Black Americans are the unity. We're that solid rock that they can build everything on because they can just jump in and out of blackness. We're flat blackness. When they're going to immigrating to these places, they're going to Europe, X, Y, and Z, and these have no culture. They can pull from our culture because they're just Black. Hip hop, that's us. We can just pull from them. We're the piggy bank for everybody. And now the bank is closed, and people are looking around like, wait, hold on. That's not fair. That's not right. So that's why over in Kenya, over Africa, they're talking about us in delineation, despite the fact they delineated hundreds of years ago. They got delineation inside of delineation. They're South African and also Zulu. You know, I mean, like, come on now. What are we talking about? So I let somebody hold Columbus thing and everything else. But yeah, that's one of the things for me.
We got a super chat from.
Real quick, let me shout out to my brother Ish with the 9.99 super chat. They are concerned about us because we started the concept of Pan-Africanism. FBA's been the gatekeepers of global blackness and unification. It was FBAs that did that. That's why people are in their feelings.
Right.
Good point. Good point.
And Aaron Von Black also left a super chat, and it just says James Small with the thumbs down emoji.
Okay. Appreciate the super chat, brother. Go ahead, Heru.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just like when you look at it from the perspective, like even though we might have been everywhere, still at the end of the day, there still is a specific lineage that we have here, because even when you go to Australia, you go to Europe, they're all being influenced by what we do. If whatever we do is what they're gonna do. If we decided to do certain things, it's just gonna be something that gets emulated worldwide. Everything, the superstars that we have become worldwide, and it's Black American culture that is rooted in that. Like everywhere you go, right? You could go into places where there's nothing but Asian people, but they love Kobe Bryant. You know, they love Steph Curry. You know, they love LeBron James. And yes, we're talking about obviously people that are basketball players, sports players, entertainers, but that's just shows how strong our culture is, that it goes worldwide. And there's just something about, you know, what we've been through, our experience, you know, like when we look at people, and what shapes a lot of people is their experience throughout their life. We say, when we tell young people, you haven't experienced that yet. When you experience it, you'll understand. And our experience as Black American people here in America has shown that it the power that it has. And I think people are nervous, they're scared, they see that progress is being made. And like I was saying, in 5 years, all this conversation that we're seeing about reparations, about foundational Black American culture and everything. And when we put that in perspective, it's like, wow, things are happening. And a lot of people are kind of like shaking, and they don't see it. And it's like, there was, like we were talking about, these politicians who are not foundational Black American, and when they come out and say, well, I'm not foundational Black American, so I'm not going to vote for reparations because I won't get it. You know, like that's just outlandish, and it's ridiculous, because at the end of the day, Black people are inherently nice, and we do a lot of things for a lot of people. We make the world move, the world better. And another thing, we've been subjugated, and there's never been any atrocity, you know, that we know as it relates to what happened in America with the enslavement process and what we were able to create out of the enslavement process. The enslavement process was meant to kill us off. Like, if you know, white people were trying to kill us off. The fact that we're here in 2025 is an amazing accomplishment. And then the fact that we built and created everything, even during slavery, they try to say we're lazy and all we do is want EBT, when there's more people on EBT that are white. And they say all these things while we the one were working when we were enslaved. We were the ones building those plantation houses. We were the one manning the farms. The women were the mothers were the one even you know, catering to the children, doing all the things. The Black women were the one cooking the meals. We were doing everything, but yet they can force us to think that we're lazy and all this, that, and all that nonsense. So we have a specific culture. We have a specific root here in America, and we built this. This is our country. They tried to flood America with, give me your sick, tired, and poor. They flooded over here. Exactly what they're doing now. Well, what we're seeing with immigration and everything that they're doing is exactly what they did 100 some odd years ago, and just flooded here with all of these different white people from all these different subsets that they're allowed to be. You know, like white people, a white person could be Irish, they could be Danish, they could be
they are.
Yeah, they could be all these different places from where they're geographically located, right? So we're not in Africa, we're in America. So we are foundation to Black America. That's really what it is. It's not about not wanting to be African. If you understand history and if you're a foundational Black American, you understand a lot of those things already. You just understand so much that there's a difference, and we have to recognize that. And there's nothing wrong with being different. Difference is what sometimes even brings us together to understand each other's cultures better, right?
Absolutely.
And it just makes it and puts it in perspective for a lot of us when we do that and we do it properly.
Absolutely.
Right. And for too long, our unique heritage here has been overlooked. Now, I want to ask both of y'all brothers this question. And this is kind of, I don't want it to go down no crazy rabbit hole or nothing, but I think this might be important because there are a lot of weird narratives on the internet about we ain't got nothing to do with Africa. We never was in Africa. America is actually the motherland. It's older than Africa. And that whole, I know y'all know what I'm talking about. I know if y'all heard that. Do y'all think that has anything to do with some of the pushback that we're hearing and some of the pushback that we're getting? And what do y'all think about that whole thing?
You go ahead, brother. Yeah.
No, like even when we look at like the conversation about us being Aboriginal to here in America, when you look at a person like Chief Sekou, right? He's been on brother Caleb 3 Millie podcast, and he breaks down Black indigenous culture to a T. He has the historical facts. He has all the things that when you look at it, he knows what he's talking about. And then you have the Dane Callaways, who might mirror what that person's saying as it relates to our indigenous heritage, but then they make outlandish claims like Harriet Tubman never exists, Nat Turner never exists, foundational Black American heroes that we have. So that's where it crosses, the conversation. So there will be people who understand indigenous heritage as it relates to what Black people are saying. They'll see a person like Chief Sekou. They'll go to places like Oklahoma and see the rich heritage that they have there with the feathers. You go to New Orleans, when you Mardi Gras, that's all native culture, indigenous culture as it relates to Black Americans here, foundational Black Americans. So a lot of times it gets convoluted, the two, because of the speakers, the people that are saying it. And I believe that if we listen to the right people and we understand who the right people are and who the people that are just looking to say things just to, for clout, just to throw the movement off, because I believe a lot of people are saying things to throw off the foundational Black American movement, to take away the validity from it, to make it seem like, oh, it's just an organization. You could join this. It's the church. You go in there and they'll tell you a whole bunch of things, but that's not even what it's about. It's either you are or you aren't. That's it. And nobody can control what a foundational Black American person says and does, just like nobody can control if a person's a Christian and then you see a whole bunch of other Christians just doing crazy, outlandish things. You wouldn't want to lump them up just because if you are a true believer in that religion, just because other people are using it as a shield, that doesn't make your belief in what you are doing wrong. So that's foundational Black American. People need to not get caught up on what this person said or that person says, because this is a lineage. It's not something you can turn on and turn off. It's not a job. It's none of those things. It's either you are or you aren't, period. And that's pretty much the end of the story. And that's where you get all these people throwing all these things out there to kind of like throw it off, because once you end the story, there's nothing really to go after that. But other people who are looking to tear it down are going to just keep trying to say, but this, but that. No, it is what it is. And there's no diverting from that.
Tariq Nasheed, he got a, what is it? What's the word? What's that thing? Not a patent, but a trademark. He trademarked it, and then you go look up African American, and it has like 2,000 trademarks on it. You have Walmart who trademarked Juneteenth. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one has a problem with that.
Right. And
it's just a foundational Black American.
Absolutely. And to piggyback off what Nicey and the brother Haru beautifully explained, there's extremists within every lineage.
Yes.
I can go, I used to date a Nigerian. She was Igbo. She said her people didn't come from Africa. They come from Israel.
Oh, wow.
Nobody talks about that. The Dogon people. I love the story of the Dogon. They said they come from another planet. Nobody's tripping. Everybody just, hey, respect to the Dogon people.
Right.
You go talk and look at accounts of the Aboriginal Australian people. They're adamant, we ain't African. We've been in Australia our whole existence. Nobody cares. But it's something about foundational Black Americans, because we are the piggy bank of the diaspora. Everybody has to pull from us. They need us specifically to be the global face of what an African is.
So why has unity
we're
been
not
a problem
allowed.
then? So why has unity been such a problem then? Why haven't they reached a hand back to their cousins, us, right?
Mhm.
And said, come home, or you know what I'm saying, we're opening up, dual citizenship, or you know what I'm saying, giving you guys some land here so you guys can build here, because we are all family. Where's that?
Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the thing. That's the thing we always talk about. And as far as the indigenous piece, I think many people, when we use the term indigenous, we're talking about the people who were here before colonization. In fact, if you look up the word indigenous, and that's what I'll look up the word indigenous, it talks about the people who inhabit the land before it was colonized. Foundational Black Americans were here before it was called the United States of America. Foundational Black Americans were here before Columbus. You can ask any Pan-Africanist, especially Pan-African elder, because some of the new Pan-Africanists, which has got me into a lot of headbutts with Pan-Africanists, are now saying there were no Black people in America before Columbus. These are the same Pan-Africanists who acknowledged the Aboriginal Australians. They will acknowledge the Negritos of Asia. They will acknowledge the Grimaldis of Europe. They will acknowledge Black people in the Pacific Island who have years. But magically, when it comes to the Americas, there's nobody. Nobody Black there until somebody dropped off a slave ship. So a lot of foundational Black Americans in response are really putting an emphasis on the indigenous history. That's why I've written 3 books highlighting the Black indigenous before Columbus that white folks documented, because I understand that many times that's who we're looking for. We're looking for white people to come out and finally acknowledge it. I'm fine with it. I could give you those receipts as well. So that's why you have a lot of people putting the emphasis. Yeah, we know the Africa thing. We've been knowing that. W.E.B. Du Bois, we got foundational Black Americans been writing about our ties to Africa. One of my favorite authors, Zora Neale Hurston. Beautiful sister. She's been documenting that connection and that history, but we know that. But the indigenous part, that's the part that people have been going out their way to deny, because that shows our unique tie to this land. And that shows why we're so rooted here and we fight so hard here. It's something deeper than just being from a foreign land. No, this is our land.
Is that?
Man, we cooking here, but we cooking here today, brothers and sisters, man. I just want to make sure that you two brothers are good on time. I want to be respectful to your time. Are y'all still good?
Good.
I'm good, bro.
No.
All right, cool.
Do you guys also think that the push, for us to be global Black or flat Black, and us not identifying with our foundational Black American lineage, they don't want us to do that, because that means we do have a claim to this land. That means they do got to pay up, right? So we need you guys to stay on this Pan-African hamster wheel, right? So that you guys do not acknowledge your claims here, land claims, money.
And that
Everything, you know what I'm saying?
That right there, what you're saying, goes with some of the comments that are going to be made in this video about FBA being CIA and FBI and all of that stuff. So let's play some more of the video, and then we could build on what Nicey was just talking about.
Just that, a action between what we call different ideology versus an ideology. The Africans who have been in America for the last 500 years feel that the Africans who come to America in the last 5 years do not ally themselves with them, but ally themselves. That's what's at the crux of this. Right? It isn't just the denial. And so, and it isn't that the Africans who are arriving lately is allying themselves with our enemies, because they don't perceive, just like we don't know our history in America. How do we expect the guy from Kenya or Nigeria to know the African American history? We don't know the history. So our people come, they're trying to ally themselves with the advantage.
Stock up this Earth Day with paleo.
I just want to say directly to Professor Small about that comment right there, since I know you may be watching this video, you may be watching the replay or whatever the case may be. Why are you giving them a pass on that? Why is it that they get a pass on that? Oh, you got to understand, they don't know your history like that. How you expect them to know your history? You don't even know your history. We do. We know our history, and we know their history.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of the ancient African history that has been brought to the table by foundational Black Americans. A lot of it.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? We taught the world about
Professor
African
James
history.
Smalls. He's done a tremendous Africans on the continent of Africa. Professor James Smalls himself. So, that's the thing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut your wisdom, brother.
No, you're right. But they do we are, and they do know about our history. And that's the reason why they call us Akatas. That's why they got all these names for us.
Jariers.
You know what I'm saying? Because Akata means Akata. Basically, they saying you a slave.
Yeah. Or cotton picker.
Yeah, you a cotton picker. You a slave.
So they know something.
That's how they differentiate themselves from us. It's a negative connotation to it. Us delineating, there's no negative connotation. Us saying, oh, we're better than y'all, and y'all are down here and we're up here. We're just saying, yo, you know what? We got a unique history right here that we haven't really looked at like that. Let's take a deeper look at this unique history over here. But when they make a distinction between them and us, it's about us being slaves and them not being slaves.
Colonization was slavery.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Being colonized was
so
slavery.
They know enough of the history.
And I think I don't know if it was in this clip. I think it might have been in his Facebook Live. He said something to the degree of giving them a pass, like you said, giving them a pass, and I think two things respectfully to the elder. I believe that we've been giving out passes for a long time. A lot of brothers have been bringing up articles in the Negro Digest going back to the 1960s of them saying these derogatory things about foundational Black Americans, saying we have no culture, we're lazy. We've been giving them passes for decades. Comes a certain time, even as a kid, when you get a whooping, like, man, I done got a couple passes. I've been acting out. I deserve that whooping. That ain't, what I'm saying, that my mom and dad are not tripping. I deserve that whooping. And that's what's been going on with the diaspora. The reason why it's gotten so bad is because we haven't said anything. Looking it all up, we're like, man, I don't want to. We're in this position of foundational Black Americans. We're kind of the global face of Blackness, and we like, hey, man, I don't want to step on nobody, make it look like I'm stepping on somebody. And it's gotten worse.
Punching down.
Right, we punching down on them, we beating up on them, and I think a lot of them have taken advantages of that. They think that we won't. They talk about our neighborhoods. They think we won't get on some of them slums in Africa. Like, oh, you can't do that. No, listen, we're gonna start punching down. So you understand that. Hey, we're not gonna allow you to continue to violate. And my second thing is, when it comes to the passes, and I brought with Professor James Smalls, why have you ignored the Akatas and certain comments like that, but you won't ignore the foundational Black Americans who make derogatory comments? Why don't we get that same pass? Right, in response. But just in general, everybody is so willing. I get people all the time send me a Tariq Nasheed video. Tariq said, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? But why you ain't sending me no Akata videos, the lazy Black Americans ain't got no culture videos? I want the same treatment. If we doing Pan-Africanism, it's just gonna be equal playing field. I want the same treats you give to other groups of people. So that's just one of my.
We're not doing double standards.
And can I just add
one
thing?
We're not doing double standards.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and obviously the point is not to point people out, but it's just interesting that not just from the conversation that James Smalls had, but there are a plethora of people online that have conversations about and want to call Tariq out. But I don't see people having the same conversations about Umar, who's actually who's considered himself a Pan-Africanist, and he dirties it not just with what he says, but his actions as a human being. So it's very interesting that Tariq can get all the smoke, but a lot of people will ignore too what Umar is doing to Pan-Africanism.
I agree.
So I just find that interesting.
I do too.
Yeah, and to add to that, I know we got to continue, but a lot of people also do it in the name of Pan-Africanism. I've seen so many videos of people saying Black Americans have no culture. You don't know where you're from. And then in the video, how can we unify in the name of Pan-Africanism? It's like, so it's almost like this is the new Pan-Africanism. So I find that.
There's this new feature on X that was kind of, I think, introduced last night or this morning. And so now you know exactly where whoever is posting all these negative comments, basically, we know exactly now where these people come from. So now everybody is responding with a screenshot. And all these people, you have people with profiles of Black people who are in Turkey, who a lot of them are obviously in the diaspora, the Caribbean. A lot of these people that's spreading all these false narratives are not even here in America. I'm loving this new feature, by the way, because it sheds a light.
And it sheds a light. And I think it also shows you if somebody's using like a VPN, like hiding their location, pretending to be somewhere that they're not, and all of that. So yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people getting exposed with that new feature quickly. Especially, and even a lot of the blogs, like a lot of the hip hop blogs and stuff like that, those channels now people are seeing where they're located at. A lot of these people ain't even in the country, but their whole timeline is about us. As we proceed,
community to get richer, you're going to ally yourself with the impoverished person in the community or the rich person in the community, and so it's a lack of understanding. It's a lack of interaction that needs to take place more.
Black Americans go to Africa and they know that the white people and the Chinese people and all of that are the ones with the resources over there, and in the Caribbean too. But Black Americans don't go over there and align themselves with the oppressor. Right. We know better. The Black Americans that go over there, that's also Pan-Africanism stuff, they go over there to build with the people. They go over there to make connections with their African brothers and sisters. They don't go over there and try to align with the oppressor against them. So that's not a two-way street. Brother Small.
And yes, even African Americans, we ally ourselves with the white man. So how are we going to get mad at the Nigerian brother allies themselves with the same white man? But that's what's at the crux of it. You understand? So the perception that, we fought for these advantages, but you come to America and you're allowed to have this advantage that we fought for because they are scared of us. And they're not.
He said, I'm sorry to keep pausing the video so much.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Cool.
Before we get to detail, it's foundational Black Americans who align themselves with the white man. And I'm paraphrasing. So how can we call them out? That's the thing. We call out our coons. We call out our symbols. We do. And so we have to call out the Black immigrants who are coons too. We can't give them a pass just because they're from another country. We have a long history. We got names like coons and sambos and different things of that nature. We kind of even misuse the term Uncle Tom, but we understand what we're trying to say. That's a collaborator. That's somebody who can't be trusted. So we have to keep the same energy for people who are skin folk, but not necessarily kinfolk. So, that's the same thing. We have to keep the same energy.
Right. And he also, to that same point, he also talked about hip hop and how, the negative portrayals of Black women and the glorification of drugs and violence and all of that stuff in hip hop. He's saying, that goes on over here in y'all culture. So how you going to call these people out? But there have been movements within the hip hop community against that stuff. We had stop the violence movements and all of that stuff, and get off the drug movements and all of that stuff within hip hop. So we've always tried to clean up our own mess. And so when other people come and try to dump their mess on top of us, we're going to clean that up as well.
Absolutely.
You good, brother Hayru? Look like you want to say something.
Oh, no, yeah, I'm sure.
All right, cool.
Wait a few. Because they can take advantage of you because you need a green card so you can't fight back. But they can't take advantage of me because I can fight back. These are all of the little nuances, right? But none of them understand it enough to explain it like you and I are now doing. And so that's why we have to tell our side of the story. We have to say, we see what's going on, but you don't hate your brother because he's lost his sight. You grab his hand and give him guidance. Where have the African American opened up a refugee center for our brothers and sisters coming from home and need help and assistance? So how are we going to complain if they go to the Indian or the Chinese or the white man for aid when we have not set up any place to aid him?
All right, there we go. There we go.
No, sir. I mean, when have foundational Black Americans not helped people in the diaspora? The We Are the World song when they was raising money. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just been so many things that foundational Black Americans have done, taking our resources and sending them over there to help the people there. When has it been reciprocated?
Absolutely.
Like that's
Facts.
that was harsh for me to hear.
Yeah, that was a rough one to hear too for me, and especially because I know with Professor James Smalls. Professor James, he's literally built hotels and done tours to Ghana trying to get because we have to be honest, when foundational Black Americans are told to go to Africa, we're told to dump money into Africa. If we're being real, come and help boost the tourism and boost the economy. Nothing wrong with that, but that's just the reality of it. When he said, we have to do a refugee type camp, we've been the refugee. When brothers and sisters come over here from other countries, we welcome them into our communities. They've always had access to our HBCUs. They get our damn scholarships, the HBCU scholarships. DACA,
Dreamers,
everything, the affirmative, quote unquote, affirmative action programs. They always, those Black Wall Streets, they had participation in those as well. Our movements, the Kwame Ture's of the world, we didn't say, oh, well, no, he's from the Caribbean. This is a Black American thing. Right. No, that brother's talking good talk. You come be the spokesperson of our movement. Brother Malcolm, nobody hesitated that his mother was from Grenada. They've always had open access to our culture, to our resources, because we are the group of people, the only group of people who view people based off their skin color. Mm-hmm. We didn't care about, we don't have a tribe. We didn't view him. He looks just like me to a certain degree. Hey, let's get it popping. What's mine is yours. So that's why you don't necessarily see a refugee camp, because whatever we had, they had.
We shared.
That's the reality.
And also we have had some semblances of that throughout history. If you look at during the civil rights movement and all that, when they were bringing Africans over here from Kenya, whose homes were they staying in during Jim Crow segregation and all of that? Who was welcoming them? Whose churches was opening up to them? They were literally living in our homes. How did Obama's father get here?
Absolutely.
Who's from Kenya? You know what I'm saying? They wasn't allowed to go into. They wasn't just brought into the white community with open arms. It was our people welcoming them in. It was our civil rights leaders and all of that going to Africa, giving them the game, teaching them how to get their revolutionary game up and all of that.
And his king and
you know what I'm saying?
Found
it was
his
us.
way to a white woman when he got here.
It was us. Nice to go put that out there.
Yeah, it was for sure. It was the Kwame Nkrumahs. Kwame Nkrumah went to a HBCU. That's where he got the game from.
Right.
If we go on to the father of Afrobeat, he told you he came and studied under the Black Panthers out there in Oakland, and he got that energy, revolutionary energy, studying that jazz and high life, and took it back to Africa and created Afrobeats. And now we see what Afrobeats is doing.
Studying James Brown, by the way.
Yeah, dude, a lot of the brother's name. He was the first president of Nigeria. He went to like Lincoln University or Cheney. They were getting that revolutionary energy. What's the other brother name? I can't remember the other brother name, but several of their revolutionaries have come here and studied underneath us, and then gone back and done several good things for their country, and helping them to gain independence. So I would like to understand where that statement, what more could we do? It's just
that
I don't understand that. I'll just leave it at that.
It's unfortunate that statement comes from Professor Smalls, because it reflects the mindset of a lot of tethers who attribute all of those things to the white man. All of the resources that they're able to benefit from when they come over here, they don't look at it like that's something that we had to fight for them to have the opportunity for. They look at it like this is the white man's country. The white man is the one that let us go to these schools. The white man is the one that created these programs. That's how they look at it. And it's like he's echoing that. So that's the part why it hits like that. And I want to say a quick story real quick that just happened to me yesterday. It's a young man that I've been cutting his hair since he was like junior high school. He just came back to visit his family for the holidays and all of that. He done graduated from colleges. He's all working, doing his thing in his field of study, the field that he studied for in college and all of that. And in my station at the barbershop, Chase, I have your posters from your on the wall to station. And so the kid, his father is black and his mother is white, I believe, or she might be like Latina or something like that. But I think she's like European, like European white, if I'm not mistaken. And he's like, regular suburban kid. He don't give like Black Power, B1, revolutionary energy, nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm cutting his hair and he looking at the posters on the wall. Remember, mind you, he hasn't been to the shop in a while. You know what I'm saying? He moved to New York. He's doing his career and all that. He looking at the posters and he's like, yo, is that a book? And so I'm like, oh yeah, that's a book. My man Chase McGee, start telling him about the book. He's like, yo, what's it about? He start asking questions, digging in. And so I'm telling him a little bit about the books and stuff like that. And so I'm like, oh, you interested in that kind of stuff? Because I'm kind of surprised, out of all the people that come in my chair that don't pay that shit no mind, him, you know what I'm saying? I was kind of taken aback. So I'm like, now we engaging, we having a good little conversation, and he started talking about his experiences at college. And he was like, when I was in college, man, I asked him, I said, did you go to HBCU or PWI? He said he went to a PWI. I said, was there a good number of Black students there or no? He was like, yeah, but most of them African. I said, oh, that's interesting. He said, yeah, man. And you know what's crazy? He said, because I kind of got into this while I was in college. He took a couple of African studies courses and stuff like that. And he was like, a lot of the organizations that they have, in order for you to get into it, there's a limited number of people that can get into it. So you got to sign up, get on a list and all of that. And they have like diversity quotas where they have to have a certain amount of people of color within these organizations and all of that. And he said, when you're filling out these applications, the Africans got to check the same box that I got to check. He said, I had a problem with that.
They changed that here in California.
That's what he said to me. Oh yeah, shout out to California. They getting the disaggregation together over there. We got to make that spread. But he pointed that out to me. That's what he had a problem with on campus while he was in college. He was like, a lot of programs I couldn't get into because the slots were all taken by Africans. And it's supposed to be for me. I'm a Black American. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, wow, that's very interesting. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, man. That's hey man, that's crazy.
That's
crazy.
Remember
but
those
a lot of our people waking
Juneteenth
up
scholarships last year? And all the winners of those Juneteenth scholarships last year were majority Nigerian.
Okay. That doesn't surprise me, man.
Right.
But we're the divisive ones.
Right.
All right, here we go, family.
When they come and they have no place to stay and they're looking for a job. You understand? So if the whites give them that support, then naturally they're going to advise themselves with the whites. And then the African Americans saying, oh, you ally yourself with my racist enemy and you are against me. That's a big part of what's going on. That's not true across the board, because many of the brothers and sisters who are Muslim have been able to blend very well with the African Americans who are Muslims. But the African Americans and many of the brothers and sisters on the continent from the Christian community have not been able to blend very well. And that's the majority community. And so this fight between the whites and us, our people are caught in the middle of that fight. You understand? And we're saying our people are siding with our enemy. They're not siding with the enemy. They don't even know what the hell's going on. They don't even know we got to fight.
That's not true. You're giving them way too much of a pass. They know exactly what they're doing. And that's what when we talk about tethers, in order to be a tether, you have to know what you're doing. That's an action that you're very much conscious of what you're doing, undermining the lineage.
And I'm sorry, but this brother's whose platform he's on, eyes is bucked. His eyes is bucking a lot for me.
Right. And brother Sincere, if you could, and this is one of the things that I brought up, if you could play that video I sent you of Professor James Smalls on 125th Street, and he's kind of debunking what he's actually saying
now.
Right.
And that was one of my things. And to also add to it, that proof that a lot of these tethers come over here and purposely do that is you can just look at the divisiveness in their homeland. I don't know why people act like their homeland doesn't have division. Like they come over here, this notion that Garvey, like they're the second coming of Garvey when they come over here, and they're coming over here seeking Pan-Africanism, and then it was us who didn't accept them, and that turned them rogue. It's almost like this narrative, like they didn't have division in their homeland. Many times they'll tell you somebody's trying to kill me in my damn home over here. So they'll do and say anything to get over here, to get that green card. And it's an unfortunate situation, but let's call a spade as we say in foundational Black American culture. These folks aren't coming over here on Pan-Africanism time. They're coming over here to get it by any means necessary. They don't, They don't care. Skin folk, that's uncommon. Everybody black in my homeland, that don't mean nothing to them. You see what I'm saying? So I mean, come on now, let's call a spade when we say that. But I would love if you get an opportunity, brother, to play that video, because Professor James Smalls is talking about the conscious effort and how they divide themselves from.
Yeah, we're almost through with this
Absolutely.
video, and then I'll pull that one up because sometimes when I open up another tab, the audio goes out.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna wait till we finish this one up, but I'm definitely gonna
Yes,
play
sir.
it though. And just real quick to respond to this comment here, a biracial person having one white parent and one black parent is considered 100% FBA. Can someone help me with the math? I'm genuinely confused.
Where's the black
Anybody
parent?
want to clear
Where's the
that
black
up?
parent from? It's
I think she's referring to the kid I was talking about at the barbershop. His father's
so he's half
FBA.
FBA.
His father's
Yeah.
FBA. So he could trace his
FBA.
lineage.
Yeah.
He could trace his lineage back to the plantations in America. He told me his family is from the Carolinas.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And so if you could trace your lineage back on either side of your family, doesn't have to be both.
Absolutely.
Then you part
There
of
you
the
go.
lineage. Like for instance, my son's 7. His mother's family is from Jamaica. Both of her parents are from Jamaica, but he's my son. I'm FBA. My son is FBA.
Absolutely.
I mean, the math is real simple.
Absolutely. The same way they try to claim Malcolm X is the Caribbean now.
Right.
Because his mother's from Grenada. We got to keep, the same thing. It can't be, it can't be this whole flip-flop thing, So if
And
somebody has an FBA parent, they're foundational Black American. We respect that.
Right.
And so it's our job to tell the history, tell the story, have the political discussions on forums like this, so people get a better understanding of what the conflict is. So you got people who thinking, the ones in America thinking, our brothers from home don't want us, they hate us, they betrayed us, because look, they only go with the white people, they don't come with us. And then the one from the continent says, oh, our brothers in America, they treat us terribly, they don't offer us a hospitality hand to come, and help when we're in crisis, but the whites and the white organization do. And so that's where you see this thing coming from. But nobody will really say that, because they don't know how to articulate what neither side is seeing. You understand? And so we have a situation where we have more brothers and sisters who are being deported, and we don't even know they're being deported. They're being arrested. We don't even know they're being arrested. You understand? So for those of us who even want to help them, we can't help them because we don't know how to find them. Until the other day, downtown Manhattan, they raided down on the east side, where a lot of our people from the continent.
I'm gonna skip forward just a little bit past this.
Politically, they wanted everybody to come to a meeting at the National Black Theater, all of the vendors, and said we will work together.
So here he's referring to that situation in Harlem, which is the video that we're going to play a little bit later. Let me skip past this commercial because it's coming up on the part where he insinuates that this whole movement might be part of a CIA op.
Why would the CIA?
Let me get past this commercial.
Why would the CIA, worry about us, delineating from Africans? It just makes no sense to me. Why would they care?
I don't know. That's like I said, that's some of the interesting stuff we definitely on the phone, and I can say that he did say he was angry, and I do understand, when you angry, you say things that you don't mean. I've been angry before, and I say things that I don't mean. I think too, on a greater discussion note, if we're being honest, and I told Baba this on the phone, Sir Smalls has been kind of making shots at foundational Black Americans on and off for years now. These are not the first videos. I remember, I think Sincere, you were on that show, Omawale or something like. I don't think he has a show anymore or something like
That
that.
Waterhead dude that you.
Yeah, he said
he disappeared off the internet.
Yeah, he said something. Professor James Small says something that could kind of be taken as a shot to foundational Black Americans on there. I've had him on my live shows going back 3 or 4 years, and I think a lot of people just haven't been, addressing it. So it's like, at a certain, if you're going to continue to say something publicly, we gotta respectfully address it publicly. So that's some of the things. So the CIA, a lot of people. Couldn't let that slide. And I understand that because that's a dangerous statement.
Okay, so in the video, there's a lot of other talk before he gets to the CIA statement. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play the intro video that I played at the beginning, so people can have the context of what was actually said, and then we'll respond to that.
You've probably seen this petty beef, between Africans and African Americans.
But we don't know how much American State Department or Justice Department is involved in Foundation of Black America. Who's getting paid the money to say what they're saying? So what you're seeing ain't quite what you see, and it's only a piece of what you see. A black face don't mean you ain't the CIA, all right? A black face don't mean you ain't the FBI. Okay?
We tried to keep it balanced last week. We tried to keep it measured. But Professor...
Well, so yeah. Anybody want to hop in right there?
I mean, who's getting the money to push Pan-Africanism? I mean, he has a event that's coming up December 13th. You know what I'm saying? So who's getting paid to push Pan-Africanism? I mean, the same thing can be said if that's the case, right? So why does one have to be paid, to push certain narratives when we're just, acknowledging our unique history? The same thing can be said about Dr. Umar and about anyone else. Dr. Umar has had countless donations, bought a building. We have not seen a school in 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But my question to that would be, why would this be of any interest to the CIA, USAID, FBI, when we've never been unified with continental Africans? There's never been any unity between us that was threatening the system of white supremacy. Right. Pan-Africanism has failed. It's not like there was some Pan-Africanism movement taking place that was threatening the system of white supremacy, and so they got to create some type of psyop to do something about it. There was no unity in the first place, so why would they waste resources to divide some people who are already divided?
Yeah, and I also say again, foundational Black Americans. I'm sorry, Brother Haru, if you want to go ahead.
No, you go. I follow you.
I also want to remind again, because to me it kind of reeks of foundational Black American. Again, it's this organization and this membership type thing, sponsoring it and funding it. Our lineage predates the CIA. Our lineage predates the United States of America. We've always had a lineage. You see what I'm saying? Whether you want to call it African American, just simply Black at one point in time, we've always had a lineage. And now us acknowledging it, I find that very problematic, especially when I've never heard anybody say you calling yourself Jamaican is CIA. You calling yourself Kenyan is CIA. You're going along with the global white power government. No, we understand what brothers and sisters mean when they say they're Jamaican.
Right.
It's not a complicated notion. They understand the foundation of what we now call Jamaica today. And they're the reasons why we can go and visit and have fun and vacation in Jamaica, because of their ancestors like Nanny and the Maroons who laid down their lives so that their people can be free, and people who quote unquote look like me and my skin tone can walk around the island free. We're not worried about all in the name game. One of our great ancestors, I don't want to say ancestors, I believe he's still alive. Dr. Wade Noble said power is the ability to define yourself, and that's what we're doing. We're defining ourselves. So I think the CIA would be anti us
doing that,
saying we're foundational Black Americans. If any, we're taking that power into our own hands. We're saying we ain't gonna be your Negroes no more. We ain't just gonna be whatever you want to call us. We're not gonna be a race. We're foundational Black Americans. So why would they be fund? That's a power move. That's not. Why would the CIA fund a power move? Now the CIA is funding Black power. I don't understand that. So
we were powerless though by not acknowledging our unique history and lineage. We were powerless at one point, and now they see, that power coming from the ground up, because now we're standing 10 toes down on FBA business when it comes to policy, when it comes to reparations. We're very, very, specific about who is entitled to those things, right? And that, to me, has been the main issue. Delineation, they would be okay with it if it just wasn't tied to it, I think. I don't think it would necessarily be a huge problem if the reparations thing wasn't in their minds cutting them out.
You're getting real choppy, nicely, by the way.
Am I?
Yeah, I'll let you go because we could still kind of make out what you were
Okay.
saying, but it was sounding a little robotic there.
And I don't have anything open. I made sure everything was closed.
Now you sound better. But hey, Rue, go ahead, hop in.
Yeah, like, and if I could just add, just from my perspective and some of the things that I'm seeing online, because what Tariq has done and what he's able to, have been able to accomplish, in his career, from Hitting Colors and now with the reparations movement and the museum and just this conversation around foundational Black American, I feel like, they're trying to attack him, and I'm looking at it from the perspective that, Tariq is pretty out and open with who he is, what he does, what he has done, whatever the case may be. So there's nothing they can really use against Tariq. So what they do a lot of times, from what I see, is that they try to get the people around Tariq, the people that's been around him, to try to take it down internally. And I'm not saying that's what James Smalls is doing, but that Arena guy did an interview with my father a couple months ago, and my father broke down to him what foundational Black American was, how it's not about hating Africans, and he broke all that down. And then 2 months later, you're doing an interview with James Smalls, fresh off of his comments about foundational Black American, because you're looking to search for an answer you couldn't get from somebody else. Now that's operative behavior.
Wow.
Yeah, it is.
Wow. And so I didn't even know that. And so you're sitting here pretending like you don't know what this is all about when you already.
I didn't know
so
that.
It was just very suspicious, and especially James Smalls. I think he did that last week, maybe Saturday or Sunday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, you got an interview with him. Now you could have had that interview already pre-done, but you just, I guess, strategically wanted to put it out. Now that's clout chasing. And if you clout chasing, there's no genuineness, there's no Pan-Africanism in that. There's no, I'm trying to just, get a clearer understanding of what it is. Now you're just searching for an answer. And then that's why when you look at the interview, the guy doesn't even ask James Smalls them questions. James Smalls just says, it's kind of, he goes on a tangent to some degree. And it's like one of those moments where it's like, oh, he got the answer he was looking for. And that's why he didn't stop him, because he's like, oh, I want more and more and more to fuel this division, right? Because if he's saying, oh, this is petty, but you're making whole shows about it after you already know that it's not about being divisive or one versus the other. It's about establishing something clear. But when you don't get the answer from one person, you go to another person that you feel you're going to get the answer you've been searching for all along. And if you're searching for an answer, you're not doing it genuinely. You're not doing it just to get a perspective. You're doing it to push a narrative. And that would be very dangerous if you're pushing a narrative to create this divisiveness when we're telling you straight up, this is not about divisiveness. So you're just choosing not to hear what people are saying because what are you getting some type of incentive to push this narrative? Because I'm seeing a lot of people online all of a sudden, we need to go back to Africa. We need to go back to Africa.
You notice?
I went to Egypt with my father. We did a tour of Egypt in 2024. They calling the people on the tour slaves. Like the people who didn't build nothing of that country, but it's a jealousy. We could go over there, chill, enjoy 2-3 weeks, then we go back to where we from, and we can freely travel. It's this jealousy too. A lot of this boils down to jealousy. Of Black Americans. The type of moves we can make, the type of things we could do. Like you just said, yesterday you went in the studio, created a song, boom, we about to hear it today. That's our culture. That we do that. Not a lot of people, and if somebody else could do it, it's because they studying what we've put out, what we laid out, the foundation. And that's why it's foundational Black Americans, because irregardless of what anybody does, Afro beats, Fela Kuti, the foundation came when he came here to America and got influenced by jazz, got influenced by the Black Panthers from a revolutionary standpoint. So everything that we see in this world that's Black, yes, everything's Black, but not everything is the foundation. And that's the thing. And if we talk about Africa, we could all be African. We can agree on that. but we all now foundational Black Americans.
And that's the only thing we've been saying for the most part. No one has denied their African genetics.
Yo, my man is cooking. Hey, yo, shout out to Dr. Kaba, by the way, man. We had him on the Godcast too. You know what I'm saying? We got to get him back. We got to get him back on, man. Woo! Lord Jesus. Oh, shout out to Project Leroy. He gifted 5 people memberships to the
nice. Thank
Godcast. And so you know what I'm gonna do too for y'all. Those of y'all that are members, I'm gonna world premiere, like I said, the song that I did yesterday. I'm gonna world premiere that song before it drops on Friday. But I'm also gonna upload it to the channel and make it available for members. So if you want to go ahead and grab a membership, I think it's only $3 for the membership. Y'all want to go ahead and become members of the channel so y'all can get access to certain exclusive content and early access and stuff like that.
And you want to know what's interesting too? I forgot about this. Me and my father, we went to it was either Detroit or we was in North Carolina, and the people who brought me and my father out, they were driving us and they were taking us to the hotel, and it was like, hey, let me I want you to listen to this song that somebody did, and he played one of your songs, which was interesting.
Wow.
And that guy, I would say, is considered himself a Pan-Africanist. You know, he had the Ibrahim Traore, garb on, but he was influenced by your music. That's he didn't come in the car talking about, I got this African brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He put on your song, right? So it's just interesting. I think where you was talking about the elders, it was the song where you were giving a shout out to all the elders.
Flowers.
So,
that's what I call Flowers.
Yeah. So it's just interesting, like the influence of our culture, even right now in this present day, surpasses a lot of things. Even the people that are Pan-Africanists and love that, they don't know by inadvertently, even though a lot of times it gets bubbled that everything that's Black is African, but that the culture in the music that you created in that song is what invoked him to, want to put that song on for my father and let him listen to it, which is it just shows and goes to show like our influence and what we see in videos.
Amazing, man. That's crazy right there. That's crazy right there. And shout out to Great Black Shark, man. Our brother was having technical difficulties. He was supposed to be on here building with us today. We're gonna have to get him on another time for sure. He also did a broadcast on this topic, I think last week or maybe the week before that. It was recently. He did a broadcast. So make sure y'all follow the Great Black Shark. Make sure y'all subscribe to his channel and check out the broadcast that he did, responding to some of the things that Professor Smalls was saying as well. Just trying to see if there's any more people I need to shout out over here real quick. But I'm gonna go ahead and play the video from when Professor Smalls was out there in Harlem. Do I got it pulled up?
Yes.
Yeah, right here.
Absolutely.
Right here. All right, cool. And so like Brother Chase was saying, this video, like, we don't really have to even say much on this panel here. This video kind of debunks everything he was saying on the video that we just got done responding to. So let's allow the elder to debunk himself. Here we go.
Right.
Oh, wait, let me unmute it so y'all can hear it. That might help.
You are always in Africa. You got the African Day Parade. You don't see the Africans. You got the festival.
And shout out to Sonetta. Fair use, by the way, too, for this.
You got the African Day Parade. You don't see the Africans. You got the festival that be going on in Brooklyn, the band festival, the African festival. Where's the Africans at? When we doing our rallies and our marches, where's the Africans at on your side? Talk to us really about that, man.
And real quick, before he speaks, I want to say that's something that I've always pointed out too. Damn, are we on the screen? We're not even on the screen. Hold on.
The one-sidedness.
Let me, yeah. The question that he just asked them about when they having all of these African-centered events out here, they don't really see Africans at those joints. I've always said that because a lot of times when me and my brother RP Beats would get booked to perform, we would get booked at a lot of Pan-African events. They would be the ones that booking us to come out and perform at their festivals and stuff like that. which is cool. You know what I'm saying? We do that all day. We don't mind. But I've always pointed out that there's never any Africans there. It's always a bunch of foundational Black Americans, and the only real exception are Rastafarians. I can't even just say Jamaicans, because it's not all Jamaicans. It's just the Rastafarians from Jamaica that be at those Pan-African events. Other than that, it's all FBA. All right.
See, let me tell you something. We think slavery in America was something. Slavery in Africa is still in force. You talking about deaf, blind, and dumb. Don't confuse you because somebody got on some printed cloth that's printed in Holland or India that you're looking at an African cultural expression. That's not an African cultural expression. That cloth was printed in a European country and then sold to Africans. And they've accepted that as their cloth. You understand what I'm saying? Just that piece. Now, they do speak the language, but they know less about their history than you and I do. So you've got a deaf, blind, dumb, backwards person speaking an African language, coming from the African country, came here to be a parasite on their own people with no respect for themselves as human beings, and then because they speak a language, try to make you play you off like they got something culturally that you don't have.
Well, goddamn.
I mean, but he ain't lying though, because how many spaces have we been in where they told us we don't have a culture, we don't have a language, we don't have a flag? You know what I'm saying? Like, we've heard all of these things that they said to us though.
Sound kind of divisive, don't it?
And by the way, that, like I said again, that's the video that caused him to originally talk about it. Right, I didn't even notice I posted on my Voice of the Ancestors page, and I checked it out, and it didn't even really go viral because I posted that clip a couple times before, and it had really blown up. But you know, even in the thing, I thought I was responsible. I even put in the title back in the day that he's not talking about all Africans. If you go back and look at that, and I put that, you know, he's not talking about all Africans. I thought I was very responsible with it. But you know, obviously this time it got into probably the Tether's hands, and you know, they flipped it and started making phone calls X, Y, and Z in order to try to use that to paint a narrative about like I said, there he is. And I mean, that's not, family, you know me, I keep the media. That's not the only time. I can pull up clips with him on the esteemed Elder Clemson Brown, who used to make the tap videos back in the day. A lot of those old videos you see of Dr. Ben and even Baba Kaba when doing lectures and different things of that nature, is Clemson Brown. And he's on there kind of going in again, you know what I'm saying? So I found that very interesting, some of the comments we made. And like I said, we're students of Professor James Smalls. That's our lineage.
Right.
You know, we've been listening to the elders, and we're taking the game to the next level, you know, now. And you know, one thing I told him was, you know, Baba, you know, I love you and I respect you, but, you know, if you got to paint me as the bad guy, if I got to be the bad guy, we're not taking no more of this. We ain't got no culture. We're lazy.
Right.
Listen, it's time to pull off the belt at this point. You know what I'm saying? Because it's getting to a point where I'm seeing one of the things I started to speak out on about as I was on TikTok, and I'm seeing a lot of the youth regurgitate these talking points. And that's where it gets really dangerous, where now you have foundational Black American babies growing up in schools, especially in these cities like New York, where there's a lot of, we being honest, there's a lot of tethers in New York. Ton of tethers in New York, raised by tether parents, and growing up in a household that they're going in on Black Americans constantly. You know, it reminded me of the brother you told me you cut his hair, experiencing that in New York. That's a huge thing in New York. You know what I'm saying? So that was like, okay, I got to be more vocal about this. So yeah, man.
Yeah. You good, brother Heru?
Oh no, yeah, I agree. You know, because I grew up in New York. I'm in Seattle now, but I grew up in New York 24 years of my life. So I saw that, and just you know, understanding that from that perspective, it's like the thing about it is that a lot of times, you know, growing up and my father being who he is, everybody's going to respect my father because of what he stands for, what he represents. So a lot of times I might not see or experience some of the other things, but you know, there's somewhat of a favoritism like that goes around in New York, right? There's this, like, you know, if somebody likes somebody, then it's like you're not going to get 100% all the way how they're going to feel about something, because they just might like it just because they like the person and they subscribe to that.
Mhm.
So a lot of times just seeing that, you know, they tell people, you know, when you go and don't hang around them, right? And you see this, like, you'll see Black people and Hispanic people, Puerto Ricans and Dominicans kind of have a little bit more camaraderie than you even do when you see Black people and African people, because of that notion of stay away from Black people, right? So it even goes as deep as that. We even sometimes find camaraderie with other cultures that, you know, how they want to just lump us all into Africa, but then we're hanging out with other people who can see things and understand, you know, even just having conversations with them. So that indoctrination and them letting over only the people they know that are going to sell out. They're not going to allow the people to come over that says, yeah, we're going to ride with the Black people in America and we're going to make moves and be revolutionary. Now they're going to be like, stay yourself right back here. Because there are Africans in Africa that agree with how we feel about foundational Black Americans, but the ones that are opposed to are the ones that come over here, that they allow to come over here. And then even though, what's crazy is that even though they might be a small percentage of the global overall, just when we look at Black people in total, but how are they the only ones in positions of the power? They're the ones in the political positions of power. They're the ones that own the businesses, right? Here in Seattle, almost all of these businesses is owned by an Ethiopian person. Why is that? Why is there not a mixture of a foundational Black American owning, you know, one of the convenience stores or being able to get a business, right? You go to the historic Black Central District area here in Seattle, you'll see nothing but, you know, African-owned business, and much respect to that. But if this is an area that was highly populated by foundational Black Americans and created that, and then all of a sudden you see this influx of Black people, but then it's more of an African stock of people, we know the difference. You know, they want us to lump us all into one. We all African, but then when the world looks at us and treats us and sees us differently, how are we all African? Because if we were all African, I could go out and get a business the same way that an Ethiopian person can. If we all African. But the fact that they can give an African, Ethiopian, a Kenyan, a Ghanaian person a business, a home loan over me, then that means we aren't the same, because then we would be working on equal playing fields. So even though that we know the history and all of that, and we understand our African roots, but if we go out into the world and we have to deal with reality, reality doesn't treat us the same way they treat Africans. So there's no way we can just identify as one thing when we go out, and the mass majority of the interactions we go out in the world, people are not treating us the same way we're supposed to identify.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if the police pull us over, they're not going to ask you, are you FBA? And they're not going to ask me if I'm African. That's another line that they like to use.
Is that is that?
Oh,
I think Dr. Cologne is in here, by the way.
Dr. Cologne, you mean Cologne? You know, hip hop.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
The what do you call it? The hip hop
50-50
pseudoscientists.
50-50.
That's what we say at Foundation. We just got that aura. It's a feeling. The spidey senses be tingling when we online, when we cooking.
Right.
You know, it's everybody. You got to see what we talking about. You got to see what we talking about. And the funny thing is, family, for the family that listening, and I've seen this already. In 50 years, you're going to have foundational Black Britons. You're going to have foundational.
They already saying it, right?
They're saying it now.
We getting the flag like we always do. Just like, remember when they said me no Black, me Dominican?
Right.
Now you got Dominicans lecturing us on we all Black. They're telling us. I'm telling you, family, that's the funny part about it. In 50 years, people are going to be running around talking about the first people of America were Black people.
Right.
And when we said it, we were divided.
Right.
Yeah.
So just, you know, sit by to being the trendsetters that we got to just accept. You know, this is part of being the trendsetters that we just got to accept. So, you know, like I said, I agree 100% with my brother Haru and everything that he was talking about. You know, that's definitely true.
Absolutely. All right, let's finish up this video right here. We still making good on time, but we're gonna wrap it up pretty soon. All right. Appreciate everybody tapping in. Again, if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit the like button on this video. Hit that like button. That helps to boost this into the YouTube algorithm when you do that. Also, share this out on your social media platforms. Let everybody know we cooking over here. All right.
The most culturally enforced African in the world is the African American. Most of the movements that have changed the world, that allow all ethnic nations to profit, has been our movement. And so we get peed on and played down because these people are so punked out and scared of the white man that they feel because they're scared of the white man, they got to be against us.
Are they our people, brother, or are we our own people now?
No, we got to understand two things. We have a race and then we have an ethnic place. Ethnically, we African Americans. Just like a guy from Africa, he can say he's African, but there's no country called African. He's either Nigerian, Ghanaian, Malian, or something. That's his ethnic nation.
All right. So we see here that Professor Smalls does understand exactly what we're saying because he said it before us. Mind you, this video was before the delineation movement.
Yeah.
We've only been delineating for like 6. Yeah. Our conversation really started bubbling up around 2019.
Right, 2019, yeah.
So he's like 5 years ahead of that with this video, with this particular video. Right. And like you said, you even got more videos, probably older than that, where he's saying some of these things.
Right, absolutely.
And not only him, I've seen videos where Amos Wilson was chastising tethers, basically. I've seen videos where what's our brother name? The warrior scholar from the Nation of Islam. I'm tripping right now. Black bald-head brother. What's my guy's name, man?
Khalid Muhammad.
Yeah, Dr. Khalid Muhammad. Same thing. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't divisive then when they was doing it. They saying the same thing that we were saying. But my point that I want to make is, being that we see that he understands exactly what we're talking about, a lot of people are questioning his motive. They're not giving him the pass to say, oh, maybe he's just confused. You know, he's elder. He's stuck in his ways. He's not really on the internet like that. He don't know what's going on. But this video kind of debunks those excuses. So people want to know, what's his real motivation? Is it because of some financial investments that you got over there in Africa? Some of the money is drying up. Like, people are asking these questions, is what I'm saying. So I don't know if you guys want to speak to that.
I'll just say this. We had a private conversation, and some of the things that you just brought up were talked about, and I'll just leave it at a private conversation.
No, I respect that. I respect
you know
that.
what I'm saying? But I say it as we say, you're getting warm. You're getting warm with your talking points, you know. So, and you know, we probably
these are not my questions, by the way. These are questions. I'm seeing this in the comment sections. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, you're getting warm, and it's unfortunate because the reality is, you know, a lot of our elders, they've done so much. Again, Professor James Smalls has a whole hotel that I know personally, he's come out of pocket to fund, and he's employed Ghana through that hotel. I know he's brought at least millions of dollars to Ghana through trips and tours and different things of that nature. Not just Ghana. Professor James Smalls has been all over Africa, not to mention how he's raised the consciousness of Africans, you know, on the continent. That's one thing I remember encountering in college. I remember talking that Black Talk in college, and a lot of the Africans were like, what the hell are you talking about?
Right.
And they were continental Africans. I'm trying to get game from them. You know, this is when I had the red, black, and green on my college dorm room wall, you know, and they looking like, huh? They're almost looking scared. I never family, quick story, man. I never forget, I approached this sister from Carrico. She's Caribbean, beautiful. One of the finest women I ever seen in college. I approached her, boy, the look she gave me, like I was going to jump on her and scare her and just, you know what I'm saying, just wrestle her down or something. The look she gave me was like, oh my God, you're Black. Like, and she was talking. I was like, all right, this is cool. Like, I ain't got to get your number, nothing like that. I was just trying to holler at you. Cool. You know, I'm a real player. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. So later on, man, I went and, you know, I seen these group of white folks, and she was just smiling from ear to ear. And I never forget, because I'm a big reader, I read Ronoku Rashidi's book, The Global Presence, I'm paraphrasing, The Global Presence of Black People Across the World. And inside that book, he talked about going to Carrico, the island where she was from. And I almost got, he was like the most hostile environment I've ever been in. Talking about Black talk was in Carrico. People were denying what I was saying. People were like, no, that's racism, what you're talking about. And it just made me wake up to the fact that just because a lot of these folks come from Black country, not on the type of time we're on, we're in a unique environment as foundational Black Americans. Even the word Black, they don't even look at that as like a thing. There's no power in Blackness. The power is with the white folks to a certain degree. Not all, of course. You got exceptions to every rule, but firsthand in college, and it just really made me kind of like look at things different. Like, like, wait, hold on now. This is a Black American thing that we own. It's not a global Black thing. The Pan-Africanism is here.
Right.
Not what Garvey understood, and that's what other brothers and sisters to raise the Stokely Carmichael. I got to get over here amongst the Black Americans who really practice what they preach.
Including Garvey. Now, I'm born and raised here in California, y'all. I've never been around Africans. I never went to school with Africans from elementary, middle, throughout high school. I've never been around Africans ever here.
All right.
Ever.
Wow.
I don't know where they are. I mean, I know that there's a little Ethiopia here, but I would have to go over there. You know what I'm saying? But I've never, been around them in small numbers or large numbers ever. Not even going to school with them.
There's a space called Little Ethiopia.
Yeah. It's just like it's a small little area where they have a bunch of few, I'll say, Ethiopian restaurants.
Okay. Wow, yeah, that's interesting. I always hear about y'all have a big like Latino population.
Yes.
Yeah, big Latino population out there in
California. Yeah, a lot of other Ethiopians come to like the Pacific Northwest. They out here in Seattle, and like I said, it's not like they have a little area for it. They give them the area that foundational Black Americans had, and then they push us south. And then they give the Ethiopians the areas to build up in the historically Black areas, historically Black districts. So it's just, and that's where it's like they just lump us all in one. They'll just put all Black people together, because then right next to where you'll have the central district is that you have the international district. So you have the Asian population living there. They always find different ways, because even I think in like California, the Asian district is right near where, you'll find the Black areas in Los Angeles. So
Koreatown.
Some way, somehow they always put us all together, but it's like we're still different. Even if you try to put us and lump us all in the same, we're still different. And
it aggregates on its own.
And that's the thing. And we can love and respect each other and still respect the fact that we're different. We don't have to be the same. It's not like, because we're not the same, we're enemies.
Right.
No. We respect Hispanic culture. We respect Asian culture. We respect that and respect the differences. Now, obviously, we know that there's a basis of Blackness at the core of all of these, Asian, Hispanic. We know that.
That's how we look at it.
Yeah. And we can still respect it. So that's just the thing about it. It's about us. And I guess because it's so new, this conversation, even though foundational Black American, what it is, the lineage is nothing new. It's been around forever. It's just new as it relates to a word, acronym being put to it, but it's still always been there. And people just see that the progress that is making. And a lot of times people are not used to things progressing this fast. That's what I think. And people are used to people talking about stuff or whatever, wait 4 years, wait 6 years, wait 10 years, right? But when you see things are rapidly growing, right? The conversation of California with reparations wasn't there in 2020. It wasn't there before that. But now it is. And it's getting close. Like every time, even though it might not be all the way there's progress being made. And the conversation of foundational Black American is speeding that process up, because there's something to it. Now there's something to account for it. There's
Right.
somebody that, you know, there are people that are understanding this, and now it's actually making movements, making headlines. Like it's just interesting. And just one of the things that James Smalls had said, and like Chase was saying, you might say things, you know, just out of anger, but I feel like it's a discredit to try to say what Tariq is doing is not influential, when the simple mere fact that anybody would be talking about it for any purposes shows the influence in and of itself.
Right.
The fact that that arena guy would hit you up to talk about FBA versus African American shows you what Tariq doing is influential. When you have Ryan Coogler making movie Sinners, doing interviews, mentioning by name Foundational Black American. When you have, and then on the flip side, when you have producers like Sunny Digital in the studio wearing shirts that say FBA. So on one side, you see the respect, and then on another side, you see the disrespect for no reason. Who like Sunny Digital? Yeah, we know he producer, but it's like randomly, like you paid somebody to make that shirt to be disrespectful. Have you ever wore a shirt that said F white supremacy? Have you ever wore a shirt that said, you know, they'll wear all this, you know, imagery, but it's like the real enemy would be the one that you're going after, but you want to go after things that, you know, associates with realness. And it's like, there's no need for the disrespect. Nobody said, screw whatever you might be. We're putting it out for people to see and understand. And it just, the influence is there, and it's undeniable. And that's the thing about it. You can't deny the influence, even just what James Small says, even beyond the conversation we're having here. There are countless people online talking about what James Small said, right? So, and there are people that aren't saying it in the best of ways. They might not being the most respectful, but the fact that there is even a conversation shows the influence. So I just want people to understand, and especially when Tariq, you know, James Small's been in numerous Hidden Colors, so it's like
the next one.
Yeah, so it's like don't bite the hand that feeds you, in the sense that, you know, the elevation of what Hidden Colors has put forth, you know, what Chase does, Voice of the Ancestors. He could probably tell you all the influences from just watching the Hidden Colors and being influenced and seeing the scholars in it, right? And even just yeah. So
real quick, some people are asking, I don't know if they came on late, but the light-skinned brother that looks like Clay Thomas, that's our brother Clay Thompson. That's our brother Hey Rude. That's our brother Hey Rude in the set. His father is Dr. Kaba, for those of you in the comment section who are asking who he is. And I was going to ask you myself, do you got a YouTube channel, brother?
Well, yeah, I got the movementism. I put up, you know, the videos that me and my father do, the videography work that I do. I've done a Power to the Panthers podcast. I got some interviews that I've done with various brothers and sisters throughout the country, just talking about, you know, who they are, what they represent, and just honing in on, like, for me, it's like I want people to understand, like, no matter what you do, you can revolutionize it. Whether you're a bus driver, you can make sure the young brothers get on the bus, get to school, right? So they're not doing the wrong thing. So whatever a person does, I just want people to understand you can revolutionize it. And you don't have to be Malcolm X or Martin Luther King. You could do it in your own way. And then if all collectively we're doing that in our communities, then we'll get to the place that we need to be. So if we can just understand to do the work and not sit around and just talk about what we could do, be solutionary. So I just try to get people to understand that, even with the youth that I come in contact with, because I teach an after-school program about self-empowerment, about understanding your culture, about understanding a lot of different things that you probably won't get from school. So we just get them to understand that and just empowering them from the perspective of loving themselves. And that's what we're talking about with Foundational Black American. Exactly. It's about loving yourself. It's not about hating anybody else. It's not about going and talking smack. But you are going to defend you. Everybody's going to defend themselves if they feel disrespected. Don't show one side of it. Don't just show videos where people are reacting, or if they want to talk about some of the responses that Tariq has to certain people, but then talk about the disrespect, because people will disrespect Tariq's family, and then he responds, and then they'll just show the response clip and be like, oh, look, he's hating on such and such. But you didn't show the clip where they were disrespecting and saying very heinous things about his wife and children. So people got to start showing the whole picture. And that's the thing about the internet. A lot of people will just clip something and be like, oh, this person said this person said that, but then won't show you the full picture.
Yeah.
You know, like even the conversation with James Smalls, like we're showing the bigger picture. We're going through the whole conversation, not just, oh, somebody said this or somebody said that. It's the whole picture. So
Agreed.
Yeah.
And somebody in the chat, real quick, I'm gonna let you go, Nicey. But somebody in the chat had also said when we played the Harlem video, the video when he was on 125th Street, somebody said he made a video responding to that. Are we gonna play that? We played it last week. For whoever
check the replay.
Whoever was asking that, go watch the replay to last week's broadcast. We played the whole thing and we responded to that as well. But go ahead.
And we got another super chat from
Maxwell Jenkins. Shout out to Maxwell Jenkins with the super chat. Appreciate you, brother.
And then I also wanted to mention 2-3 years ago, Brother Elder James Smalls and Tariq did he went on to Tariq's show to address the flag and FBA and stuff like that. So I thought an understanding was made even then. You know, so to fast forward 3 years later and we're here, you know, talking like this, I was confused.
Oh, you talking about the video where Chase was on?
No, I'm talking about when he came on to Tariq's podcast, because remember the same crap was being said 3 years ago, and so he came on to Tariq's platform and they addressed it 3 years ago.
Right, I remember that. I think that was right before American Maroon came out, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was.
One of those. Yes, I remember that.
But we also played last week on the broadcast the clip where you, Dr. Kaba, and Professor Smalls was on the Hoppy channel talking about the flag, talking about the FBA flag. We played the clips from that too.
Right.
Okay.
Last week.
We've been talking about this for a minute, and so I like I say, I think that's a lot of the kind of frustration with foundational Black Americans. Is like, Bob, we kind of been talking to you about this for a minute, and I can show you conversations that we've had personally, because one thing they never do is they talk about foundational Black Americans all the time, but they never go to officialfba.com, which is the website that documents everything. They never bring up the flag, what the flag represents, X, Y, and Z. They never do these things because they want to create a narrative. And like Brother Haru said earlier, a lot of it is rooted in jealousy. I noticed, being that we're the proxy for everybody, we're the proxy of everything negative that goes on. We're where everybody goes to dump their trash. I was even looking a couple weeks ago and rest of the brothers and sisters who lost their life in Jamaica. But you had a Caribbean sister go down there and talk about the hotel staff, and Jamaicans got on us.
And we got
they just started attacking Black Americans. Black Americans are lazy. You have you think you're better than us? It's like, whoa, where did
don't come back to Jamaica? And it was brothers, FBA brothers out there helping clean up after the hurricane.
Right.
Stepped up.
It's like my mom used to say, some folks be itching to hate. They itching to hate. They ready. Any little thing. The moment you don't give them some money, you can get them $100 million. But if you didn't give them money last time, they itching. They ready to do something. They ready to talk about you. So I think also interesting. Also a point that I wanted to piggyback off of Brother Haru, or we were talking about the CIA earlier, is no one looks at the connections between the CIA and what could possibly be going on with Pan-Africanism. Like the so-called Brother Umar Johnson and what he's doing, he's collected and things. I'm just making an observation if we're going to talk about Pan-Africanism, because a lot of these Pan-Africanists are very quiet on Umar, but a lot of them were pulling his coattails a couple of years ago. They were tooting his own horn. And so a lot of these people are quiet now. So, that's something we got to look at. And he's somebody, he shouldn't get reparations. That's CIA to me. He's going out his way to say we should not get reparations. We don't deserve reparations.
Right.
He's regurgitated white stereotypes. Oh, if Black people get it, you're just going to buy Cadillacs. Damn.
Well, guess what? Black people bought you a school and you haven't produced it yet.
And so, there it is.
So he's talking about himself. That was definitely a deflection.
Right. And one thing they never bring up, our brother Tariq, every time he gets some money, he delivers. And one thing I will say, every time he raises money, he delivers. Museum, movies.
Not deflection, projection. I'm sorry. Projection.
Right. So, I think that's very interesting. I think that's very interesting, man. But I think we're gonna be good. We're gonna be all right. And I think a lot of people are fearful. The Brother Haru talked about the different locations and immigrants in other places one thing that I've noticed, even in the movie industry, is I remember the brother Idris Elba. You know, there's been a big influx of Black Brits playing Black American historical roles. And, you know, I was studying, I was like, man, why do they keep doing this? You know, why are they kind of pushing them into this roles? And they always push the narrative. The irony of that, they're better at playing a Black American than a Black American is at playing a Black American. Very interesting. But I saw the brother Idris Elba.
And they get Black Americans to train them
right
on set, by the way.
For the accent.
Very interesting. And two things that caught my eye. He did an interview recently where he was talking about, because he got there in Baltimore playing this Baltimore gangster, portraying Black Americans as a Baltimore gangster. And he went and he talked about his audition, and the dude who was auditioning for him saying that he could tell he was British. He's like, hey man, where you from? You know, and I thought that killed the whole narrative of them coming over here and max their accent so good, but he still gave him a role. But I think later on, he went and he opened up a film school in Senegal or wherever his parents were from. And I found that very interesting that you made a career.
I think Nigeria.
Oh, Nigeria, something like that. But you made a career off playing foundational Black. From my knowledge, you haven't done anything specifically giving to foundational Black Americans. No film school in Baltimore, which could really use a film school. Brothers and sisters out there, give them the opportunity, but you take it back home. But that's the whole play right there in itself, family. You can empower them because they ain't gonna empower the Black community. Cynthia Erivo is another one. You know, I look at, there's a young lady on TikTok now named London Hughes. She's a Black Brit. She sits up all day and talk about wagging her finger at Black Americans. She's a Black British actor. One of her people who signed her documentation was Cynthia. What's the other brother name who played Fred Hampton? He's a Black British dude.
Daniel Kaluuya,
right?
Like that.
But a lot of them, in order to get over here, they have to have like a signature of somebody who's reputable in their industry, and that's what they're getting. And she's coming over here. She's living in LA wagons, so they look out for each other. Whereas you have a brother like Denzel Washington, who's given birth to a Omari Harvard, who was sleeping on his sofa at one time, paid for film school for our Chadwick Boseman.
Exactly.
See, we put each other on, and we put brothers in empowering positions. And Chadwick Boseman went on and put on other people. So, you know, that's the difference between us and them. And I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of these folks push the Pan-African narrative. And I think it is, when we look at it, some government influence in that.
And about the Idris Elba thing, he also said at the time when he was playing that role on The Wire, his advisors told him to hide his British accent and not to let it be known that he was British. While that show was going on, if you go back and look at the old interviews and stuff that he was doing at the time when they would do press, he would be in character. He wouldn't speak in his British accent when he was doing press conferences and stuff like that, promoting the show. Somebody in the chat asked, what's Professor Small's position on reparations for foundational Black Americans? On one of the videos that we played last week, he made a statement saying something to the effect of, if we want to get reparations, basically it needs to be for all Africans. It's not just for foundational Black Americans. To him, all Black people across the globe are owed reparations,
which is true.
From the U.S. government,
but not from the U.S. government. I'm saying, or all
that's what he was saying,
but not necessarily this government. But
he was saying it shouldn't be just for us, and so I had a problem with that as well.
Has he said anything about Cure?
Nope, I haven't heard
hasn't.
it yet.
Not that I've heard.
No,
I think it's very interesting, and that just shows foundational Black American culture too. We don't really jump in other people's politics. As far as, you know, movements that's going on, there's brothers and sisters fighting for reparations in Namibia and other places. We don't jump over there and tell do not deserve. You know, that's part of the culture we were brought up in. We mind our business. You know, we worry about what's going on in our house. The tethers here don't do that. They're very vocal about us not getting it. So that's interesting.
Shout out to Star, some chick named Star in the building. I appreciate you. If any of the mods could grab Brother Hayru's YouTube channel and put the link in the chat, I want people to make sure that they subscribe to his YouTube channel. And Brother Chase, I seen somebody was putting his links in the chat a little bit earlier, but if you could grab his links again too, the Voice of the Ancestors, right?
Yeah, I got the I'm on the new page though now, Foundational Black American History.
Foundational Black American History.
So that's the
on
one
YouTube. If y'all could grab
weekly.
those links and put them in the chat,
Yes, sir.
and I'll have y'all shout it out before we get out of here. Let everybody know where you guys could be found and all of that stuff. Let me play the rest of this video here. And again, I will debut my new song before we close out today. You guys are going to be the first ones in the world to hear the new song Reflection. Just wrote it and recorded it last night, literally.
Yeah,
and it's going to be available on all streaming platforms this Black Friday. So the song is called Reflections. Y'all stick around for that.
Racially, we are together, but economically, we may well be enemies. And we have to be clear on that. That our economic enemy is just that. And if you deal with your economic enemy like it's your friend, you're going to be the loser at the end of the day. Now, we raised the question of Pan-Africanism in this hemisphere. You know, we had the brothers from Trinidad, and then you had W.B. Du Bois, and we created this phenomena. But Africa has never created a Pan-African movement. You understand? Africa has never really supported the Pan-African movement. We had a couple of people in Nkrumah and Julius Nyerere and Mugabe, but most of Africa never gave a damn about Pan-Africanism because they're still bogged down in the colonial slavery of European Judeo-Christian indoctrination, which is worse than anything that we've suffered. Worse than anything that we've suffered. The illusion of
he cooking more than us.
Right.
the clothes and the language make us think we're dealing with somebody that has some African purity culturally and spiritually. You're dealing with a confused, backwards Christian that love Europe more than they love their own ancestors. They would not even use an African word for God. You know, in Ghana, if you talk about being a traditional African, you might get beat down in the street. You understand? You're ostracized on the radio. Movies are made to show African culture as being the devil, while Christian culture is coming in as the savior. This is TV shows and on.
And it was Tariq Nasheed that went out his way to make a movie about the Haitian Revolution and to teach people about Ogun and the Legbas and all of that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The Vodun and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? We out here talking about hoodoo and our own spiritual systems and all that stuff that we had to come up with under the oppression and all of that. You know what I mean? We embrace that stuff over here as foundational Black Americans. And another quick story that happened at the barbershop recently. There's this brother from the Ivory Coast. He's a Jehovah's Witness brother. He came in there and he was trying to give me one of the pamphlets that they be passing out or whatever the case may be. And he's cool. I've been knowing him for a while. You know what I'm saying? He's a good brother. But we started talking, you know, about the religious stuff and all of that. And then I asked him, I said, let me ask you a question. I said, you was born and raised in Ivory Coast. I said, how come the only time I hear people talking about African gods and African spiritual systems, it's always Black Americans? I said, it's never you guys that come from the continent teaching us about these African spiritual systems and all of that. And he basically told me his story of how he rejected it growing up because he wasn't going to be subject to the programming. His grandparents and all of that stuff was trying to get him to, you know, practice what their traditions were. And he had questions. It sounded like my story when it came to Christianity. Like when I was a kid, you know, when they were trying to teach me about Christianity, I had questions.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? And basically he was telling me he had questions about what they were doing. He was like, this stuff just wasn't making sense to me. And so I wasn't going to allow them to indoctrinate me. And so now you a Jehovah's Witness over here trying to give me a watchtower. I'm like, okay, you say so.
You can't make it
Was
up.
he born in Ivory Coast?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I noticed.
He came here as an adult.
Right.
He came here as an adult.
And one thing I noticed as well in school as well, when I went to college is, have you noticed that they talk about us being indoctrinated? That's why I always kind of laugh.
Yeah.
But have you noticed a lot of Africans have two sets of names that they go by, and then they have their African name? They have like 4 or 5 different names. So their Christian name might be literally Christian Miller, but their real name is Mkwamwe whatever, Omawale, and that's it. And I was like, I always found that strange in school. I had 2 sets of names. And a lot of times they use that in order to get over, to show that they're literally been Christianized. So I found it very interesting.
It's crazy.
Me and my man Tone, we always mess with the African kids at the barbershop about that. Like they'll come in and they'll tell us some regular name. Oh, my name's Josh. Or my name's Nelson, or something like that. We'd be like, nigga, what's your name, nigga? You know what I'm saying? Like, tell me your real name. Nigga. I don't want to hear that shit. Your name ain't Josh.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We always be messing with them about that.
Thanks. Man, it's crazy.
Let's finish this up. I ain't gonna hold y'all too much longer. I appreciate your time, brothers.
Absolutely. Appreciate
your time.
Yes, sir.
On TV in Nigeria and Ghana every day.
Okay, that was it.
Yeah.
And that's available on the Voice of the Ancestors page on Instagram, by the way. Y'all make sure y'all follow that page.
Absolutely. Follow that Voice of the Ancestors on Instagram. But yeah, man, I posted that, and obviously it caused our esteemed elder to kind of, it triggered something in him to speak out against it. And I think it's good that we're doing this panel now, because we have cooler heads, and like you say, you do see some people going in. You know what I'm saying? But to address this talking point and situation in a respectful manner, I think that's always good.
Yes, indeed. You guys, real quick, want to give y'all the opportunity to let everybody know where to follow you at, where to get your books at, anything that you want to promote, stuff like that. And then after you guys do that, I'm going to debut the new song.
Absolutely. Again, my name is Brother Chase McGee. You can follow my YouTube channel. It's Foundational Black American History on YouTube. I think YouTube has it short for Histo, Foundational Black American Histo, but it's Foundational Black American History. We'll give you weekly videos breaking down some of these videos that we see running around the diaspora and debunking the myths. You can also follow me on Instagram, Voice of the Ancestors, Foundational Black Americans, 1526. And my personal page is It's Chase the God on Instagram.
There it is. Brother Heru.
Yeah, so my YouTube, check me out at Panther Prince Productions, and my Instagram, The Realness Set. I do videography. I do a lot of work in the community, just pushing forth this message. Obviously, just the work that me and my father do, Brother Kaba, and just everything that we're pushing forth for the future, being, understanding that we have to be solutionary. We have to look at it from a perspective that we're creating solutions, especially for the youth, the young people that's going to be the future, that's going to put enact and keep in place when we get reparations, keep keep it protected too as well, because that's the number one thing, because we could get reparations, but we got to talk about protecting it. We got to talk about our security forces. We have to talk about a lot of different things. And I think that the more we talk about and add on to the conversation about what we're going to do with the reparations that's going to move us forward as a people, we'll get the less, people having this to say and that to say, because a lot of people just think, oh, it's just people online talking and having wishful thinking or looking for a handout. No, we have a constructive way that we're going to utilize the funds that we get to create the Black Wall Streets again, to create our legacies for our future children, for our nieces and nephews, our families, mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers. So we're just pushing forth with just everything that we're doing, and just understanding that we're doing this as one, and all the efforts that we're doing right now, we're making it happen. And it's just, I appreciate everybody on this podcast, on this Godcast. I appreciate everything that we're doing. And that's the thing, like, we're looking at each other and getting inspired by what we're talking about and what we're choosing to utilize moving forward. And I feel like it's reaching the people. There's a reason why in 5 years we're getting the message out and the word is getting spread across. And even when you look at people, like, there's a brother named Drazi. He's a African and he lives in the UK. And that brother fully understands. He actually did a reactionary video to what James Smalls was saying. And just understanding, because he did an interview with my father, and my father broke down to him what Foundational Black American was. And he didn't know what it was before he had the conversation with my father. And he said, I will never look at Foundational Black Americans the same after what you told me. And even in the interview, he said, we like little bro, and Foundational Black Americans are big bro, right? What big bro do, the little brother wants to follow, right? And it's the Foundational Black Americans that have to set order inside the house. Because if that's the case, then we got to regulate. We got to have these conversations that come from level-headed, minded people that we can talk cordial. It's not anything disrespectful. We're having a conversation so much that Chase says, I reached out to Brother James Smalls, and he's going to be listening and seeing. So there might be a future conversation around, him
I would
being.
love to chop it up with
We
the elder.
extended. I
Would
did
love to
send
have
an
him on.
email. I
Yeah,
sent
so
an email to
Yeah,
try to
we-
get them on as well, to have
yes,
the conversation directly with the elder. So
I'll try to set that up personally with
yeah, so
with the elder.
it's no beef. So like that arena
Right.
guy, he's not the right guy to facilitate this
no, because he came off
conversation.
being deceptive.
Yeah, he's looking for answers. He's looking for specific answers, not a answer. He's looking for a specific answer, and that to me is where you'll get these
Division.
operative people. Yeah, these people that are coming in and are really being divisive. Because what we're doing is not being divisive. We're establishing something and making it clear so people understand what not just him, but other people on podcasts, like the first interview that James Smalls did that stirred up some controversy, and then he sat down with Tariq and they did a conversation about that. That guy specifically stirred it up and was looking to get a certain answer. So, so these people that are orchestrating the conversations are becoming really the problems around it. It's not what's being spoken about, it's the people that are asking questions. And like I said, he never asked James Smalls really none of the questions that we even spoke about. It was just James Smalls speaking off of the initial question. And so, because if he's really about being balanced and even, he might have stopped him some points and been like, well, brother, saying CIA, and don't you think that's taken a little bit far?
Right.
Everything that Black people, they had to go through with dealing with the actual CIA and the FBI tapping their phones. Don't you think that's a stretch? But he didn't stop him. He just let him keep going. See, he wasn't orchestrating it to be a conversation. He was orchestrating it to be,
I gotcha.
I'm going to get the most of what this is. Yeah. And that's what becomes the problem. And it's them doing that. We're out here trying to have cordial, regulated conversations around the topic, whereas the people on the other side of things are trying to agitate and stir up things that aren't there. There is no beef. There can't be a beef. We work and we understand each other. There is no beef. We could talk and we could make jokes all day long. We still love one another as a people. There is no, we and that's the thing about Black American culture that people also have to understand. We crack, we make jokes, we do all of those things.
With our whole family.
Sometimes we take it a little far. There's no doubt about that. But it's still all in love. It's not like I hate you and I don't want to see you here no more. It just is what it is, and we get over it eventually. That's the thing about it. That's the thing about our culture, that they're stern with them. They come over here, they're more stern with them and all of that. And there's a little bit of a relaxation in comparison to the African culture that we have here in America, that gives us that extra flair that we have, that makes us we're human. Like you're saying with that indoctrination, they come over here and are indoctrinated to not rock with us, not even speak to us, disrespect us. And it's even just like that arena guy asked my father a question about why about the conversation around Black Americans boycotting African businesses, but he never gave my father the context that it was about them charging a Black woman a certain price and then upcharging her, and then when she didn't want to pay, they got into a situation. If you give that context, that will say, well, that was a case that was in and of itself. It was a situation where these people happened to be African, and the woman in the chair was, but then don't make it about a beef and then stir it up, and then you're adding to that narrative, and you're doing this, and the person that you're speaking to is a scholar that could break it down if you give him the full information. But if you just give them that microness of it, they're not going to be able. They're going to be like, well, that's bad. But if you have the context, and
let me ask you this, hey Ru. Let me ask you this.
Yeah,
I always hear brothers in the Nation of Islam, especially Brother Nuri Muhammad. He always say a youthless movement is a fruitless movement, or something like that. I might be messing that up, but something like that. A youthless movement is a fruitless movement. Do you think that the relationship between you and your father, him having that connection to you, enables him to see, the playing field for what it is, as opposed to maybe Professor Smalls, who might not have somebody like you in his life on a regular basis that can give him that other perspective from somebody that he would actually respect their opinion?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I speak to my father every day. I'm always talking to him about all the topics. I've spoken to him about this. He definitely wants to chime in and speak about it because he's spoken about it and given clarity to this topic. Like I say, he spoke to the arena guy in September and told him what FBA was and broke it down. He's done conversations with countless people and explained what foundational Black American is about. So yeah, I have conversations with him all the time about it. And he definitely understands. And I know that a lot of time people associate the Pan-Africanism and they associate it with the older generation. But it's like you're saying, if you had young people, now obviously James Smalls has sons, he has nephews, he has people around him that could be, but you know, it just depends on if you're willing to listen. And we're all human. We all have frailties. Maybe James Smalls is a little bit more like not as easy just to tell him something and automatically they're going to receive it and then, you know, activate it, you know, when time is needed.
That's true.
So yeah, so I will definitely say that my influence with my father, working with him, having conversations with him on a daily basis brings more clarity to this conversation. And I told him that I was doing this podcast with y'all, so he definitely told me to give y'all a shout out and let y'all know, you know, much respect. Definitely. So he's definitely, you know, seeing this and seeing everything that's going on. And it is a person like myself, because if he didn't have me, he probably wouldn't see a lot of these things. Right. Or he might see things just what people send him, a clip they might send him, and he doesn't have the full context. But at least if he can see that, hit me up and ask me about it, then, you know, he could go from that and fully understand it and then not just be, oh, it's just this way. But yeah, definitely, I'll definitely agree to that being part of the reason why it makes it that a person like my father could understand it from a holistic perspective because of people like myself and just other young people, because he still does programs with young people. And I say, to stay connected with current events and what's going on and what people are doing, you have to work with the youth and you have to be willing to listen to them.
Yes,
and
indeed.
And you learn from them. Like the kids will learn. Your job is to teach them, but sometimes you might learn things from them. Like there are some things that a person like my father, James Smalls, or any of the other elders could listen about the FBA and it helped them understand it better. You know, us breaking it down from a certain perspective and being about love. It's not about, oh, screw Africa and all of that. It's about us loving ourselves. And that's the thing. That's the first thing we're taught when we're young, is to love ourselves, love who we are, right? And not try to be somebody that we're not. Like, I see Africans who are from the continent of Africa all the time. And if me and them are just chilling and somebody comes up and somebody says, hey, you know, just randomly, what are you brothers? And I say, yeah, I'm African. He says he's African, but I'm like, I was born in Bronx, New York, and I have a lineage here with my grandparents and things like that. But he actually was born in Africa. I feel like that's disrespectful for me to claim something that's not me. And then I understand people will respond with that. Well, we were stolen, so we don't really know our identities. But even so, we know how in generations, like, we're far removed from that.
Ethnogenesis.
A lot of the places that we would be from ain't there no more.
Right.
So don't even exist anymore.
So it just goes back to the fact that this is about loving ourselves. We love ourselves. We're trying to rebuild back America. Because if we went and listened and just said, hey, let's go back to Africa, then we'd be fleeing. Why is it okay to flee your land and go to another land and then possibly take resources and things that are allocated for another group? We can't go anywhere else in this world and there are resources set up for the people of that land, and we could just jump over them and take it from them, and that's it. And even the conversation around reparations, I ask the young people all the time, if somebody came in your house right now, told you this is my house, kicked you out, took all your stuff and said that's just what it is, and you can't call the police, ain't nobody gonna stop it, what are you gonna do? None of them are gonna sit there and be like, yeah, I'm gonna take it. And then even when they talk about giving reparations to Africa, for them to give it to us. If somebody owe you money, you want the money from that person that owe you. You're not going to be like, The
I
person
don't need a
said,
middleman.
yeah, I gave it to Johnny. Now you got to go get the money from Johnny. You think Johnny going to give you the money?
Right.
Probably not.
Right.
And that's the establishing. And even just one quick thing, even when we talk about, that's why it's so detrimental about the term African American, because white people can be African American. Elon Musk is African American. So if you were to say, yeah, we'll give reparations to African American, that would part and part
be
would
a
make
mess.
Elon Musk richer.
Right.
So
It'd be a
it's
hot
very
mess.
important. The foundational Black American, it's not just because we want to have a different name. It's that there's more truth to it. African American is not a true lineage for Black people in America, because if it can apply to a racist apartheid individual such as Elon Musk, then it is not effective. And Black people only need effectiveness within their movement, period. We're past the times of people just having just slogans or just this, because that's what they think. They think FBA is a slogan. No, it's a lineage.
They want it to be.
Yeah, and that's what people really got to understand. It has nothing to do with all the other, necessarily ramifications that come with it, but it's about a lineage. It's not about what you think it is. It's about what it is, and it's just simple and plain. And that's the thing. And we just got to lay it out for what it is, and then that's it. No debating. Because the people that want to debate, they just want to debate to have a conversation. But
Just
if you
to have
end it and say
circular
that's what it
argument.
is, yeah, then it is what it is. No more conversation. Just like when they want to argue, Egyptians were Arab or Egyptians were white, Egyptians were Black. We know that. That's the end of story. Now we can get into the further conversations around who the specific people were, what type of dynasties and the individuals and the intermingling with the Roman culture. We can talk about that. But the basis, it just is what it is. There's no denying it. It's written on the wall. Like everything is etched in stone. That's just what it is. You find your lineage that's etched in stone in the birth certificate of your grandparents, your great-great-grandparents, and so on and so on. It's right there. And I advise people to go down and get that information. So when it's time to make moves, you got it. Because when they do make that a stipulation that you have to prove it, there are going to be so many people. There's going to be so many stipulations. So we need to pre-plan and do things in advance. So when it's time to do it, like I'm saying with the security forces, right? The gang members in our community. Yes, they're not doing the right thing right now, but we can channel that energy into something revolutionary because we're going to need a protective force, right? And maybe some of the gang members might not have all the ways to know how to utilize weapons, but they can get training. There's a lot of Black people that are ex-military, a lot of Black people that are just into guns, and they know, and we can start teaching each other about these things. And trust and believe, the more we do that, the stronger we get. And that's rooted in our culture, our foundational Black American culture. Before the Panthers, we had the Deacons of Defense. Before the Deacons of Defense, you had the Black people in World War II. So there's always been a Black militia force.
Yeah.
We see the Black Panthers, but and we got that now. There are more guns on the street than there's ever been. There are more Black people with a gun right now ever in history. And that's why white people really ain't going to turn up the way they think they're going to turn up, because you don't know who the next Rodney Hinton is that's going to shoot a cop, and maybe the next time they might actually shoot the cop that actually killed their son. So you might not get that random person that shot. You might actually get the targeted person that actually did this. And that's why, they tread lightly now. They're seeing things. We waking up, and that's why they have to try to knock down anything related to revolutionary, trying to knock down FBA, because that's revolutionary and it's reparations. That's money and revolution. See, during the civil rights era, it was just about revolution. It wasn't even about reparations, but now we're intertwining revolution and reparations, and they can't stand that. And because the person who kind of spearheaded this whole conversation is a person who was his own boss. Don't have to answer to the white man. There's nobody that can call up Tariq and be like, hey, Tariq, we want you to stop speaking so harshly about this or about that because we're going to pull your funding. They mad they can't do that. So what they got to do is that they have to get people that are around Tariq and try to infiltrate the movement from within. They've done it so many times. It's like we got to see it. Like with the pandemic, we've seen the Tuskegee, we've seen the experiments forever. Henrietta Lacks, we see it. So we wouldn't be surprised when they
Nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
Man.
Did you guys see when Elon Musk's father was recently on Vlad, and he said that if white people became a minority, then basically America's doomed? I said, not this colonizer, and he looks crazy.
And
they
you know who sat down and did,
that.
you know who sat down and did a debate with Elon Musk's father?
Who?
Umar.
Really?
What?
Yeah. There's no video of it, but I seen them in a picture shaking hands.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's strange.
Yeah.
That's very CIA.
And the thing about it is, even a person like Julius Malema met with a person like Umar back a couple years ago or so, right? So it's just interesting who these people are, what they represent, who then they're linked to in the US and then abroad. So it's just a clear, and it's like we see it, you know, if like that statement, if you know, you know, like if you know what it is. Now, if you don't know, you might have to get some game, but if you do know, it is clear as day.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Man, I ain't want to stop you, man. You was cooking.
For sure. If I could just say one more or two more words, I always like to end with some positivity on my front. I just want to say again, first of all, salute to y'all for even having, because it takes a lot of courage to have these conversations. Because no matter what we comment section saying, we attacking the elder. That's already a strategy, family. I don't even want y'all to feed into that in the comment section. The people coming in, oh, y'all attacking. This is what FBA do. Now they attacking the elder. That's what they're hoping and wishing for. They really wanted us to come on here and curse out Professor James Small and go in and in war, so they can make 100 videos about it.
My mama wouldn't allow that.
Exactly. And I just want to say we love Professor James Smalls. We're students of Professor James Smalls. And we're going to continue to get game and speak truth to power about what he's taught us, to the world, and that's confirmation. Those videos that we saw is confirmation, because nobody can debunk anything he really said in the video. Even him getting game, like the brother Haru mentioned, the brother Drazi out there, Drazi or something like that out in the UK. They just made a reactionary video to that, and he said some things that has made me call him a tether, but he's taking some. So I'm having to look at him in a different light, and with that knowledge, wisdom, and information. But in closing, man, I just want to say to the FBA family, Foundation of Black Americans, we are phenomenal people. We're a people who's rooted here. We're a people who didn't immigrate into the United States. We are the United States of America. We built it cleared it all, gave birth to one of the greatest economic powers in human history, and did it all under the might of the U.S. military. No love coming from the diaspora, if we're going to be honest, doing it by ourselves from scratch. We gave birth to not only jazz, hip hop, but gave birth to things like the filament of the light bulb, the Lewis Latimers, the George Crumb giving birth to the potato chip, Maria Van Braun home security system. We are a phenomenal people who's rooted here, and no matter what they say, they cannot stop this motion. No matter they can I be asking him sometime on the phone, like, brother, how you deal with it? But the movement continues to grow. It continues to grow, where you got brothers like you say, Ryan Coogler, talking about it in movies. It's just the beginning, family. We only 5 years. Look what we've done in 5 years.
5 years.
Some people, no disrespect, some people lineage been, nobody still don't know they there. Think about that. No disrespect to other people. They tribe, they love to talk about their tribes and how ancient and how much culture they got. We still don't know what their culture is. I'm just being honest.
The truth is the truth.
I'm just being honest, family. So that's we are, and I'll land my plane with that, man. Shout out to the family.
Thank you.
Respect. Appreciate that. Nice. You got any closing words you want to say?
I just want to thank Chase and Brother Hayru from coming on tonight and giving your wisdom. And, again, Elder Smalls, we love you. We respect you. That isn't going to change, even though we disagree on certain things. And we would love to have you on the Godcast.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. And I want to thank you, brothers, too, for pulling up. Shout out to Great Black Shark. Sorry, about the technical difficulties. Things didn't work out. But we definitely going to link up with Great Black Shark and do some things in the future. So y'all stay on the lookout for that. I appreciate everybody for joining us tonight. You know, this was a long one, and y'all stuck in here with us. Y'all kept the energy going in the chat. Appreciate all the super chats, all of that. Again, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button on this video. If you're not already subscribed, if you're not already subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you can be reminded whenever we go live with new episodes of Sincere Love the Godcast or upload new content. Go ahead and grab you a membership so you can get access to exclusive content like this video that I'm about to debut for y'all right now. Not video, but song that I'm about to debut for y'all. It's called Reflection. Just did this last night. Me and my son put this together. We about to work on some more music right after I get off of here too. So y'all might get some more music from me before the year closes out. I ain't dropped nothing all 2025. So I'm gonna try to close it out with a banger. It's been a great year for hip hop. Shout out to hip hop. Shout out to Devin Haney for his great win last night. I got to throw that in there. That was a great win.
Shout out to Brian Norman too. Brian Norman,
man. You know,
my city, man.
Decatur wears greater. You know, I was going for Brian Norman.
Shout out to Brian Norman, but two FBA brothers getting it on, man. They made millions of dollars.
Yeah, man.
Brian Norman got him a black wife, man. You know.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was great. It was great, man.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
here we go. This is the exclusive world premiere from me, Sincere Love to God.
Reflection.
Song is called Reflection. Let's check it out.
If you are made in the image of God and the likeness of God, and you are the children of God, grow up to be what?
Yeah, it's been a while since I wrote something. Felt like my flow wasn't updated. I needed time to download, cousin. And when it's slow, when it's buffering and ain't no quotes coming, I take a break from the pen, let my soul function. Don't wanna force it, I let the force hit. In God's time, these are God rhymes I was born to spit. It's hard to take the credit, although I made the edits. I guess it's something I'm blessed with since I'm the one who said it. Channel my ancestors, just wanna be a vessel. Went from a king to a god, as you can see it's levels. You MCs do the devil's work, that's in every verse that I ever heard. I should check you, but let me bless you first. I pray that all your blessings spin the block and multiply, and run down on you niggas just to exalt the guys. I pray that all the storms water you, and may the lightning strike twice as a sign we all supporting you. Blame God, he blew breath in my lungs. Now every fiber in my body want the best for you, son. It's real. It ain't no cap in my rapping, so when I catch a hat, I leave a couple jewels in your skull just to resurrect you back. Now that's some hard shit, straight from the God shit. But I ain't fall out the heavens, I came from dog shit. Just like you, little homie, so I offer protection. I see you, just like I'm staring at my own reflection. Yeah, that's some hard shit, straight from the God shit. But I ain't fall out the heavens, I came from dog shit. Cause I was just like you, so I offer protection. I see you. Like I'm staring at my own reflection.
Somebody said, what if I don't believe in God? That's okay. Add an O to God. Do you believe in doing good? Because guess what? When you have knowledge of self, you understand that the knowledge of God is the knowledge of self. God just simply means force and power. We all just have to exercise the force and power within ourselves. And when we submit to that self-accusing spirit, to that conscience, to that God that speaks to you from within, you will start to reflect God. Minister says the laws of God is written in our nature. Before there was a Bible and a Quran, by nature we submit our will to do the will of God, the supreme being. Somebody said, what if I don't believe in God? That's okay. Add an O to God. Do you believe in doing good? Believe in doing good. Do you believe in doing good? Do you believe in doing good?
There it is, family. World premiere, exclusive. That's going to be available on all streaming platforms this Friday. Y'all make sure y'all go ahead and stream that, run them streams up.
And brother, let me holler at y'all in the back after we get off of here. So
okay, just stick around. Just stick around.
Real quick, y'all.
All right, we're going to close this one out, man. Appreciate everybody once again. Family, always remember, we are not the master teachers. We are only the master students and signal boosters for the voices of the new black media. That does it for today's episode of Sincere Love the Godcast. Peace and black love.
Peace.